All right. And we are live.
That's good.
Just
Want to wait for this for a while?
just give me a second before we get this further. I'm gonna share the link to Twitter.
Okay.
Hold on. Just give me 1 second, guys.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I think I did enough. So, anyways,
Okay, let's see what's in the chat.
all
Nick and Super Starfies here
right. All right. So
for
after
watching.
destroying the universe, we are back for some more videos.
Yeah, we've gone unscathed. Um,
Um, so in between the everything else about the classic era and the adventure one review, and there was a big long time gap, like a 1 year time gap, I would say. Let me look. Let's see, because the see this came out at on April 3rd, 2017, and the adventure review came out. Well, it came out in two parts, and they both came out. And part one came out in November. So yeah, that was a year and a half. Now the thing is, I actually did
For some reason. Oh,
Or something.
I heard a brief part. It's like the mic is cutting out or something.
Hey, hey.
Just get back in or something. I'll text that.
Alright. Fuck. Let's hope this isn't going to some weird-ass server. Oh, I'm back on? Huh. Alright, well I just gotta reconnect to... Spacey.
Yep.
Alright. Alright, so we're back here.
Okay. For some reason that briefly cut off.
Okay, so where did I stop with the explanation? Basically, alright, retreading my steps. I started the script for the adventure review in 2017, like October 2017. I finished it in October, but something happened where the footage got deleted. And so I, it took me, and of course a bunch of things happened between, personal life things happened between the release of, between the release of everything else about the classic era and the adventure review. So, but nonetheless, after basically being in a production hell, the adventure review came out in 2018 of November. I thought I had that video unlisted, this one over here. But of course, I'm not talking about the adventure review. I'm talking about this one. I have my mouse on over the Smash Ultimate predictions. But yeah, there was like a bunch of like speculation stuff in between. Just a bunch of filler shit. But anyways, let's get on to the adventure review. Now Spacey and Shady Stoughton. Yeah. Now, Spacey, you said this was where Numen reviews started. Oh shit.
Yeah.
You said this is where Numen reviews started getting good, right?
Yeah. I think the production time between the year really helped.
Right. Well, a lot. Yeah, this one took longer. Again, there was like the big time gap between when I started the script and when I actually got around to making it. I did not work on it between that time, so I didn't get back to working on this until I believe either late October or early November of the year. But yeah, so regardless, and I took some extra measures into this review. For one thing, I made a brand new intro for this review to fit the time, to fit basically the era. Since this intro is more like Dreamcast era oriented and whatnot, and basically this is it. Oh. And I even took the time to create a custom title screen. I even added a cute little touch like the press start button. I think I had that in Comic Sans just as like a reference. I can't tell if that's Comic Sans. It probably is, but just as like a little reference to SA2.
Definitely is Comic Sans.
Yeah, it's a reference
like
to.
It.
Yeah, because like a reference to the font used in Adventure 2. Nonetheless, here is.
Never knew Adventure 2 used Comic Sans all things.
Yeah, Adventure 2 used Comic Sans. I think that was kind of like one thing that's like made fun of about that game in particular. Anyways, and also I started having these title cards for the reviews.
Yeah, there's one thing I suggest for the thumbnails.
What?
I think you should make them 1920 by 1080
Right.
or somewhere around the natural resolution in order to make it fill up the whole video.
Yeah. I tend to sort of like rush those a little bit. Those are also like the thumbnails as well of the video. So,
Yeah.
but anyways,
In the mid to late 90s, the jump from 2D to 3D gaming
he said jump. He jumped right as I said
was
jump.
a pretty big deal. Technology had started to become more
Funny.
advanced at this point, and the possibilities when it came to video games had become endless. Through this, we seen the birth of new franchises, while previously established franchises ended up making the transition to 3D. Though this came with mixed results. Some were great, like Super Mario 64, Rayman 2, and some
Surprised I didn't mention Pac-Man World. I used footage of it, but
were
you know.
pretty terrible, like Bubsy.
Oh yeah, at least you did.
And then you have
Because
the
you're
ones
Numen
that never saw the
FromPacLand.
light of day,
Right.
That you
like
joke.
as Jackrabbit 3D and
Or you're known as Discord or as the Numen from Mobius.
Right.
Rather strange difference in the name.
Well,
Yeah.
we all know that about Sonic Extreme.
Might
It's
confuse
Callous
people.
development cycle. It was meant to be the first
Pac-Man's
true
from
Sonic game,
Mobius.
but due to issues with the development team,
Yeah.
bad planning, poor communication, and shitty business practices, the game never met its deadline of 1996, and eventually met its demise. However, this wouldn't stop Sega from releasing a 3D Sonic game, so Sonic's team then started to work on a 3D Sonic RPG for the Sega Saturn. At this point, Sega was already coming out with the Sega Dreamcast, so the project was moved over to the Dreamcast. However, what was left of the Sega Saturn project was repurposed as the Sonic World segment of Sonic Jam. I actually covered this in the previous episode of the Retrospective.
Originally in this video, I was actually gonna have like a little I was originally gonna have a flashback sort of thing where I'd like have like the part where I talk about this, but in like black and white whatnot. But I ended up cutting that out because it was kind of like filler and didn't really
With that
add
being
anything.
said, what did eventually become of this 3D Sonic title?
Yeah.
Wait, yeah.
Well, it became what we now know as Sonic Adventure. Being released in 1999, Sonic Adventure was quite the game changer for Sonic, mainly for the fact that it was Sonic's first big step into 3D. When it was released, it garnered praise from both critics and fans, and it ended up being one of the
I will
best-selling-
say making this video was kind of like hell. I mean, I'm pretty sure a bunch of like the adventure era reviews were kind of like hard to make because like Movie Maker kept on like crashing files and whatnot. I kept on having to
Yeah,
restart
this is
it.
when this movie maker isn't exactly a great editor.
It's not
Like, it's good
at
for
all.
shorter videos, but
Right.
when you go ambitious, it gets hard.
Right.
Excuse me.
But yeah, it's
What year did what year did Movie Maker come out? Like two.
yeah, what year did it come out? I don't actually know that.
You mean Windows Movie Maker?
Yeah.
Well, I think you had Windows Movie Maker Live 2012, so I think somewhere around 2011 and 2012 is when your version came out.
Oh.
Or are you talking about the original version of Movie Maker?
I mean, I don't know which one I particularly have because I could like show you like a screenshot of like the outline of it, whatnot. I think I did show that in of like the UI
Yeah, Sonic
design.
Adventure 2.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
showed.
believe it's one of the Windows Movie Makers from Windows 7.
Okay.
I would likely go to and assume that this is Windows Live Movie Maker 2012.
Right. Okay. So, anyways, moving forward.
on the Dreamcast, even getting a sequel in 2001. And for many years, Sonic Adventure, for the most part, would be looked at by the gaming community in a positive manner. Nowadays, though, that's not the case, as a couple of years ago, the discourse around Sonic Adventure and other subsequent 3D Sonic titles started to change. And
See ya later,
suffice to say,
Blinky XP.
The outlook on 3D Sonic started to change for the worse.
Yeah.
The quality of
Hopefully
Sonic
you can
Adventure as
join the stream later.
topic of debate, with claims of Sonic Adventure being, and I quote, the start of Sonic's downward spiral into mediocrity. A lot of this can be contributed to the opinions of popular gaming-related YouTubers like Aaron Hansen, aka EcoRaptor.
Oh, geez, what game is this?
It's Sonic Adventure.
Excellent. Is it good?
No.
Okay.
It's horrible.
Ah, yes, the Let's Play that broke the Sonic fan base in half.
So the question
Yep.
remains.
And somehow
is
it's still
Sonic
hired for Sega.
Yeah, that's kind of what still gets me. Evidently, it's a cynical marketing strategy, if you will. It's essentially being like, yeah, we're self-aware, and it's admittedly kind of annoying. I won't lie.
Yeah, I mean, you can be self-aware to an extent, but the way the Sonic series does it tends to be overbearing at times.
Right, like, it's basically another iteration of the, trying to be, hip and cool with the kids and whatnot.
Yeah, and since, like, the
Like,
fan base,
what was that
for the
meme?
longest time, has been extremely cynical,
Yeah.
that's why
Oh,
Sega's going for this irony-like approach.
Yeah, I forgot how the meme went. It was, that one scene from, I think it was, that one sitcom,
What, the director? Or...
No. It was, I don't know. Oh, it kind of sucks when, like, I try to remember things and I just, like, I can't remember it. There was the, it was like the one, I forgot what it was. I don't know. Haha, funny meme moment. Yeah, indeed, Nick 2751 is the haha funny meme moment. But
Adventure a good game, or is it not? Does it?
okay, so the line delivery there was kind of awkward. Where I went, is it a good game or is it not? I mean, I think again, I still would agree that some of the vocal faux pas I had from previous reviews are still kind of present here. Anyways,
Yeah,
You gotta.
I can definitely tell that.
it's from to a lesser extent at least.
Stand the test of time? Well, that's what we're here to find out. As today's episode of the Sonic Retrospective, we'll be tackling the Dreamcast classic itself, Sonic Adventure. The controls for Sonic in this game are pretty decent. Basic movement feels natural and responsive, and turning is pretty easy. Sonic's jump, however, feels floaty and a little bit off, making some of the platforming feel a bit awkward. But it's still pretty decent though. One of Sonic's signature moves, the spin dash, returns. In this game though, it's very spammable. Although that's not entirely a bad thing, as it is fun to spam. Although spamming too much might cost a life. Though spin dash jumping is just as good and useful as it was in the classic. Somewhat new to Sonic's arsenal of moves is the homing attack.
It seems like this is a running joke in these streams where I for some reason have to do something real quick. So excuse me for a moment. Give me like a few seconds.
Okay, see ya. At least for a little bit. Once again, it's the Spacing Station show again.
Sonic's Broken Adventure.
Yeah, Sonic Very Broken Adventure.
Somehow, I can't tell you how many times I saw glitches in this game. Like with using the spin dash and stuff. Like,
Yeah, you can break Sonic Adventure very easily. Kind of fun to do that.
mm-hmm. Yes, it was Minecraft. This was the game that introduced Big the Cat.
Yep, it did introduce Big the Cat. The joke character of the series.
Yeah, my least favorite character. My least favorite character, but you know.
Thankfully that hold on. Thankfully, that wasn't as long as the previous one. Is my microphone still on?
Yep, it is.
Alright, good. Good. And I have dinner with me, so let us continue.
Which allows Sonic to home in on enemies in ball form. Since Sonic is so fast, trying to take on enemies in a 3D environment wouldn't be too hard with speed like this. So this move was basically added in out of necessity. For the most part, it does its job well. Although it can be rather sluggish sometimes, there are times where you use the homing attack on a set of airborne badniks to get from one place to the next. This is what is referred to as a homing attack chain, and this is often seen as lazy level design. While I do agree with that sentiment, I don't think it's that bad in this game, mainly because...
In retrospect, I think, homing attack chains are good in succession. Like, they're good in... How do I put it? They're good in a ration form. Like, constantly having homing attack chains is lazy level design, but occasionally, you know...
Yeah, they're good, like, moments to break up the action.
Right. See, that's the problem with Sonic 4, is that that's what all of the level design consists, or most of the level design consists of. It's, you know, basically just, oh, now here's a dash panel section. Now here's a, you know, a range of enemies. You know, here's an array of enemies. Homing attack them. That's all that the level design in Sonic 4 and Forces basically is. You know.
Yeah, there's a lot of Sonic games that have that problem
Yeah.
of basically being way too linear to really be worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're at their best when they're utilized for, like, you know, as a way to section off levels and introduce tricky alternate pathways. You know, I think an interesting idea, though, is adding momentum to the homing attack, like what certain fan games have done, like that Sonic Utopia project.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. More momentum in Sonic would be cool because
you know,
momentum is always a part of the series.
Yeah, and you know, speaking of Sonic Utopia, I'm not sure if we'll ever see that game get finished, given the drama that has happened with one of the developers recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, which sucks, but
Kind of upsetting, even if it is understandable.
yeah. Well, at least we have Project Hero, though, so.
Yeah, that makes things at least more worth it.
I actually think, like, I don't mind. I know a bunch of people got mad about that project's like redesign because it was originally modern Sonic, but they like changed the models to be classic. I mean, I don't mind the redesign. I prefer the modern Sonic models, but I think like the classic aesthetic looks relatively nice. I just don't like, you know, the removal of certain abilities, but I mean, it's all dependent on like what they do with the level design. That's all I really care about, and you know, hopefully. Oh, Nick, are you asking about what happened to Sonic Utopia? Basically, Lange was kind of a dickhead, to put it simply. I mean, I don't know the full extent of it. But yeah. I mean, it's a long story, to put it simply.
Fortunately, these homing attack chains don't occur often, and when they do, they're mainly a means of taking the...
I will say, looking at this gameplay is making me want to replay Sonic Adventure again.
Yeah, Sonic Adventure was a really fun game. Is a fun game to replay.
Yeah.
There's so many pathways you could have went,
Except for
you
the
know,
times whenever the collision detection camera decides to be...
like, go one way, the other way, you can go the other.
But I'll talk about that.
Replayability is high for me.
Why don't we talk
I've
about the main
often
features?
come back and play it a lot.
Adventure. The multiple character story arcs. In Sonic 3 and Knuckles, you had a choice of playing one of three playable characters who played similar to each other, but they had their own unique abilities that made each one of them stand out. In Sonic Adventure, however, we have 6 playable characters, each having their own different playstyles, their own objectives, and their own story campaigns. I know Knuckles.
I hear a sound in the back. Hold on. Shay Stone, is that you or?
What's it sound like?
It was like sounded like TV static.
Oh,
Oh, I don't know. Maybe that's my microphone having a little static thing.
Oh, okay. All right.
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know.
using
Maybe I
headphones.
turn on the gain, but
Okay. All right.
Had his own campaign in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, but it was still somewhat of the same thing as the other ones in that game. Out of the 6 playable characters, we have Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and 2 brand new characters, Big the Cat and Gamma.
Okay. All right. I'm just gonna skip past this point because it's kind of. I don't know. Should I play it because it's kind of cringy?
it'd probably speed up.
Let's just bite the bullet on this one and
Yep, biting the bullet would probably be the best.
Yeah, so that's just LOL XD moment, and there was really no reason to have that there.
I might as well use this as an opportunity to knock the story out of the way. Eggman discovers an entity known as Chaos, an ancient god who is filled by the rage of his past. Chaos evolves and grows stronger with every Chaos Emerald he consumes, and Eggman wants to use Chaos to destroy Station Square, which is a city where a good chunk of the game takes place, so he can build Robotnik Land. Seeing this as a threat, Sonic and Tails set out to find the rest of the Chaos Emeralds before Eggman can. Meanwhile, Knuckles is out collecting the Master Emerald shards after it was supposedly destroyed by Eggman by releasing Chaos from the Master Emerald. Amy gets thrown into the plot after she comes across a Flicky that's looking for its siblings. So Amy decides to help out this little Flicky, but because this Flicky has the possession of a Chaos Emerald, this Flicky and Amy are the target of Eggman. So Amy and the Flicky get captured by one of Eggman's badniks named Zero. No, not that Zero. Not that Zero either. You wish. No, it's this Zero. While in captivity, Amy is approached by E-102 Gamma, who is trying
I'm
to
just
escape
imagining
from Trinity.
Zero from Kirby in a Sonic game.
yeah.
That would be weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. But not one of the most, though it wouldn't be as bizarre.
As what?
It wouldn't be the most bizarre. It wouldn't be the most bizarre thing Sega's done with Sonic.
Oh, yeah, true. Anyways, yeah.
But
Trying to think of like other things they did with the character that was pretty bizarre. Yeah.
But Amy and the Flicky manage to convince Gamma to let them go. Amy befriends Gamma. This
Though
Yes, Nick.
Mega Man Zero wouldn't be too out of place given the Archie crossover with Sonic and Mega Man that they did that one time. No.
Yeah.
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 exposure to friendship created a change of heart for Gamma, to which Gamma realizes the errors of his ways. To rectify them, he rejects Eggman and sets out to search for his robotic brother and to free them from their mortal pains by hunting down and destroying each one of them, releasing the little animals inside. And there's also Big. He just wants Froggy back. There are also little segments in each character's story where they are transported to the grounds of the Echidnas tribe at a certain point in the past. These scenes are basically foreshadowing. That's basically my summary of the plot. Sonic Adventure's story is alright for what it's worth, but it's not without some issues. Some of the writing can be pretty dumb at times.
This is happening.
Honestly, I don't find much of a problem with that particular line anymore.
It's
I mean,
iconic.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
kind
it's kind of like Sonic and
Yeah.
pretty in character. I think the only thing that really is a problem is the lip syncing.
right. That's really the issue. I don't think the voice acting is really as bad as a lot of people make it out to be. But I won't deny that it has kind of aged in that way. But yeah, it's just that it is pretty cheesy. But I mean, that is Sonic in a way. Sonic's always been kind of cheesy, so
Yeah. Not insultingly ironic cheesy, but
like I
more
mean,
typical action cheesy.
yeah, I honestly find there are a lot of things in this review that a lot of things I said in this review that I kind of like just disagree with. I also feel like there are just certain things I wish there are certain things that I overlooked and as well as just like underplayed. And
Yeah, I think that's one of your big problem with these reviews up until this like Jack Renza review is that you didn't really explain things too much. You never really gave out a full coverage of the game.
Right. Right. At some point I might remake this one. I still think this is a good review, all things considered. At least, like, I think this is where I like to consider this a rebirth of my reviewing style, because it's basically the one review that signified certain, improvements that I've made over past videos. But as a whole, I feel like there are things I could have expanded upon more. Problem is that adventure reviews are pretty rampant, all things considered.
Yeah, everyone's basically reviewed Adventure. Jay, EXO, basically everyone you can whack a stick at who's a fan of Sonic
Yeah.
has done a review.
There's Nick on
It's
Planet.
almost as reviewed as over-reviewed as the Sonic 1.
Right. There's also the
Of
Nick.
course,
There's also the Nick on Planet Ripple review, which was basically like a big multi-part review. That's kind of like that's the thing with Adventure. It's very talked about. Yeah, I think it always will be talked about.
yeah, because it's so interesting compared to a lot of other Sonic games. You don't see a lot of the gameplay styles used here anymore.
Right, and in
A lot of
general,
them are one-time wonders.
yeah, it's like that weird transition period between the It's not weird. It's like that transition period between the classic and the modern style. You could see certain things being like certain things were starting to phase out by the time Adventure 2 came out. But this does feel like Sonic, 3D Sonic, and I'm reluctant to say it's 3D Sonic in its purest form, but in a way it kind of is. It's the closest we've gotten to a 3D environment classic Sonic game, if you will.
Yeah, Adventure 2 also kind of strikes that as well, but
Right.
this is focused on action.
Yeah, that was more of like the modern style, which is, the spectacle. Some would say that Sonic Heroes is the 3D environment classic Sonic game. And, but again, mechanically, it's still, and some of the level design does harken back to classic Sonic. The art style definitely harkens back to classic Sonic. And I'd say it has like my third favorite. I'd say Heroes has my third favorite art style, all things considered. Because of that. But yes, mechanic wise, this is basically 3D Sonic in its purest form. Or at least Sonic's gameplay, anyway. There's a really good foundation here that I feel was never really tapped into in any other game.
Yeah, especially with a lot of gameplay styles like Biggs or Amy's.
Right. Like, Adventure 2 did its own thing in terms of Sonic's gameplay as a whole. It was more action-oriented, and to be fair, I enjoy the action-oriented level design, the action-oriented gameplay of Sonic Adventure 2. I do consider it my favorite 3D Sonic game because of that, because it's like more polished and some of the things it does very well. And we'll get, and you'll see that when we get to the Adventure 2 review. There was something else I wanted to say, but I think I lost track of that. So let's move this forward.
While it is cool to see the story from different perspectives of multiple different characters, it does lead to a lot of repeat cutscenes, which in of itself is bad enough. But in the Dreamcast original, you can't skip cutscenes, meaning...
And the footage, and again, I did record this through the Dreamcast version.
So that's interesting. You're on Dreamcast.
Yeah,
I want to own that first for a while now, but
right.
I think it's a little bit harder to set in other section consoles.
Right. Yeah. But yes, yeah, I did base this review off of the Dreamcast version. There was a part where I was going to talk about the DX port, but I couldn't find them. I think I lost my DX copy. So
Like that was the port a lot of people played a lot of the times, was the GameCube port.
I'd say the best way to experience Adventure is through the PC version through mods, essentially. Just
yeah, that's all I basically play Adventure.
Yeah.
DX ain't bad. It'll always hold a little bit of a special place in my opinion, but I still don't think it's all that great as a version.
I think it's ugly.
Kind of mirrors my opinion on 3D All Stars of being pretty good, but
yeah,
by comparison to what the others you can play,
right,
it's kind of weak.
Oh, I would say I kind of feel the same way about the Insane trilogy in comparison to like the original Crash trilogy. Because I always just prefer the way the original games,
Yeah, I always kind of prefer the Spiral Reignite trilogy, the Crash Insane trilogy.
Right. I mean, that's I feel like that's like a whole nother can of worms I could get into when it comes to that stuff. Yeah. I'll probably talk about that if I ever do my video talking about how I feel about a potential world remake, a potential Pac-Man world remake. But regardless, on the subject of remakes, this is one that people talk about a lot. Sonic Adventure. The possibility of a Sonic Adventure remake. I just want it to play well, and if they ever do make that, I just want it to play well and expand off the game, as opposed to just it being the same game but with HD graphics and whatnot. But
sit through certain cutscenes over and over again. The animation,
and I felt I sold this, and again, as you'll see in this review, I feel like kind of sold this story a bit short because there was a lot of nuances. I did go over the nuances, but just in general, the nuances to certain things like Chaos's development as a a villain, how the game just continuously builds him up as this threat, this inevitable disaster that you want to see get stopped, but once more, it's just how this game is just good with, build up and payoff that, all the reviewers have already kind of, talked about and whatnot, but,
do not hold up well at all. And certain things just don't overall add up. With all the negatives of the story aside, there are things to
again, there was a thing that I cut out at that particular point. When I said there were certain things that didn't add up. That was in regards to certain things that I thought were quote unquote plot holes that really did not even matter at all. The whole Angel Island thing, because You know, in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Angel Island was a lot bigger than it was in this game. And I thought that was, kind of strange. So I was going to mention... I was going to mention that as a thing that I thought didn't add up. But that's just, like, nitpick. I mean, I'm reluctant on whether or not I would say that's nitpicking or not. It's more so like an inconsistency.
Well, I mean, if do you consider, Dreamcast Sonic to be different than the classic Sonic, or to be canon? Like,
I mean,
ask yourself that.
I like to think that this takes place after 3 and Knuckles.
Because I know in one scene, like with Amy Rose, that it did show. Didn't they show like one scene from like Sonic CD, like when she was
Yeah,
talking about
exactly.
Sonic?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, exactly. It was. And fun fact, that scene also contained a screenshot of Beta Windy Valley, by the way. But yes, it referenced Sonic CD. So in that sense, it is canon within the classic games. No, and I think there should be a consistent continuity, but supposedly it's not. Again, there is like the whole two worlds theory. Well, not theory. It's basically confirmed to take place between two worlds, and it's never explained how the characters rotate between different worlds. You could say that the Sonic movie gives a good idea, but the Sonic movie's non-canon. It's not.
That's its own thing.
Yeah, so I guess we can assume that it works the same way in this universe than it does in that universe. But well, who knows? Maybe they'll come out of the woodworks and say, "Nah, the Sonic movie is canon." I mean, they never will.
Yeah,
but
Sonic can't get a little strange, so I wouldn't be shocked.
wait, what? I mean,
The Sonic can get very strange at times, so yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if that ended up and the Sonic movie ended up being canon to the rest of the series.
right?
Like, I like to think of it as like different universes. Like, there's the main game universe, the Arch universe, I guess, and the Boom universe. Those are the only, and I guess the cartoony stuff. But like, that's what I like to think of it.
The OVA universe as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Movies, all that.
Right. Yeah, because sometimes it's a post-apocalyptic Earth, and other times it's like, just Earth and, Mobius, or, whatever you would want to call it, are, like, different. Right, it escapes my mind. I remember hearing some people speculate that, that the Earth in 06 and Unleashed is actually a third planet, a completely different planet altogether, which, I don't know, I think it's dumb, but regardless, we shall continue this review.
About the story. The foreshadowing is done pretty well, and there's a lot of build-up, although the payoff isn't that effective considering how the game basically shows what happens in the end.
I'd actually say, it is kind of neat that they do show off what happens in the beginning, because it leads to this idea of, how did it get to that point, whatnot, but...
Yeah.
My opening cinematic. But that's not too bad considering how it at least looks cool in the intro. There are times when the plot decides to take a dark turn, with certain things like the Chows getting murdered, Chaos' genocide of the Knuckles clan, Station Square getting destroyed near the end, and of course I can't forget the darkest and edgy of them all, Big the Cat. Considering how this game is usually lighthearted, these more dark elements make Adventure's plot a bit more engaging. In general, they're handled very well, even with the shitty animation quality of the Adventure's cutscenes. It's a story that can be rather engaging at times. The characters are done very well, and some of the character development is pretty strong. Sonic is pretty cool as always, though some of his lines are pretty cheesy. but that's to be expected. I really don't have much to say about him. Knuckles, despite his gullibilness, is still a very chill and vibe character, overall making him very likable. Amy is alright. Tails, however, has some really good...
And, again, going back to my main issue with this review, again, there's a lot more to Amy than in this game than just being alright. She had her own fair share of development that I kind of, regret not really exploring that idea because,
Yeah, Sonic Adventure Story is something that really hasn't been explored all too well.
right.
A lot of reviews tend to really gloss over the story.
I'd say, yeah. Because, again, Amy, she had her own, development in this game. The way she, learned to be more independent and, how she, how to defend others and whatnot. As the way she, defended Gamma and whatnot.
character development.
Yeah, it's either, when people, the most it's ever explored is either Tails or Gamma. Whatnot, but...
So do the other characters, but I want to mention Tails specifically. He starts off being reliant on Sonic, but then there comes a point where they're both separated from each other, to which Tails has to take matters into his own hands. So his development is based around becoming more independent, and as a result, his character adventure is very endearing.
Scared. I'm not scared. I can do this.
But when it comes to character development, I think Gamma steals the show. I've sort of already explained the story, and I kind of don't want to repeat myself about it. From his beginning to his change of morality and to his eventual demise, Gamma's campaign is very engaging when it comes to story. His campaign is the stronger end of this regard. Gamma is one of the best developed characters in the series. Well, one of the best. Oh, and, there's also Big the Cat.
Okay, that seems to be... Okay, so this seems to be like a running joke amongst the review, and basically the whole idea behind the joke is that, Big the Cat, what is he doing here? Why is he here, Isn't it kind of dumb that he's here, It is kind of ironic that this is a running joke considering the fact that I also talk about how I don't like how Big the Cat is, overused in the Sonic Twitter memes and whatnot. And to be fair, I still think it was a really unfunny trend and, just forced in general, but,
Yeah, it just seems like they wanted to make something
relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they just they got pressured into demand,
Right.
essentially.
Remember that fan game people tried to pass off as, this wacky, self-aware fan game that, it explains why Big is in Adventure 2, And, the visual novel game, the Big's Big Fishing Adventure, whatever, That was just kind of... I think that faded into obscurity after a while. Because it was just based off of a meme that was forced and not really funny anyway. It seemed like a promising fan game given, the different type playstyles they had and whatnot. And if it could, build off of Adventure 2 story, that would have been, really neat. But, again, it's more just cynical... cynical marketing or whatnot. It was basically, free at best, it seemed like it was a love letter to the adventure games. At worst, it's just a cynical sort of joke about the adventure games, but, again...
I really like Eggman's characterization in this game. I like how they balanced his more wacky comical side with his more intimidated and demented side. I like how menacing he can get, and Dean Bristow's performance as him is pretty great.
Again, I could have used some examples, like how he just discarded the other E-Series robots after failing to capture the frog, or how he like dismembered Beta to like repurpose him as a war machine, or just like other things, his ruthless nature. I do show off a little bit in this cutscene where with him and Tails and whatnot, but there's a lot more I could have explained. In general, I would argue that the story explanation was kind of like one of the weaker parts of this review, because there were a lot of areas I could have explored whatnot. I will say Adventure 1 and Adventure 2 had basically the perfect Eggman portrayals, because they just showed him off. He was basically, they balanced him out. He's wacky and comical, but he's also extremely threatening, But
away before I make mincemeat out of you.
You guys still there, or?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, we are. Just nothing more to add, really.
Okay. Just making sure the audio or my mic didn't cut out again, because that seems to be like a running.
Chaos is a pretty cool villain. I like how he's this incomplete water god that needs the consumption of the Chaos Emeralds in order to reach his perfect form. Not the...
Again, I don't get this comparison I make, because, yeah, it's comparison to some degree. It's comparable to some degree because, there's some life form that grows, by absorbing X item and whatnot. But one's a bioengineered weapon, the other is a water god. So, there really is no connection. The only connection you could really make was that their final form is called Perfect. And I remember having an argument about that with a friend a while back. I think you were there, Shady Snowden.
Yes, I was. I remember the day.
Yeah. God.
But I just, Never mind.
Oh, no, say it. No, go ahead and say it.
I forgot what I was going to say. I'd just like to say that, like, never mind. I forgot.
Yeah. Oh. Looking at the chat, yeah. Seen what? Let's look at the chat real quick. Yeah, some neat ideas you have for Roll 4 there, Nick. Yeah. Or not. Anyways.
But it is an alright take on it, and despite having no dialogue, he does have a bit of character to him, and they do build him up really well. I like Tikal. Her character design is nice, and she is overall important to the story. Overall, Sonic Adventure has an okay
Again, I
story.
could have explained that more, but, you get the picture.
It has its flaws, but it also has its highlights. Not to mention, Sonic Adventure did add a lot of new lore and mythos to the Sonic franchise, like the Knuckles clan, the Chow, and Chaos. Alright, so with
I think I was going to mention Big the Cat one time, but I decided, enough was enough, and, because after that second time, I was like, that the joke's not really even funny. I even think back then that joke wasn't particularly funny. I think I had a purpose for, like, all the Big the Cat jokes was to, I don't know, there was some, like, meaning I had behind those different...
Let's actually talk about the multiple playstyles. I'm just gonna get right to the point and say that the character formula, the identity that comprises what most of Sonic Adventure is fundamentally flawed.
Not fundamentally flawed. It's tricky. It's tricky in concept. Execution is very with a game like this can be pretty hard. It's just it can be done right, however, and to say it's fundamentally flawed is again just selling it short, because one part, there are things about the formula that in of itself enhance Sonic Adventure and whatnot. I'd say it's one of the best things about Sonic Adventure because it makes, just as a overall package, it's both one of the best things about Adventure and it's also one of the worst things about Adventure, if that makes any sense.
This is for many reasons. The first reason being repetition. With 11 zones and 6 overall campaigns, you're going to be revisiting the same locations throughout the...
You're revisiting the same locations, yes, but you're also exploring different parts of those locations. You're doing different things in those locations, It's not like, say, Sonic Heroes, where you had to redo the game 4 different times, just with different difficulty. And, the one time they decided to change it up, it's with a really shitty mission-based system and a linear level structure.
Game's duration. Though this really isn't an issue considering that going through one stage...
How you get through those levels,
Right. Yeah.
As one
with each different character,
it's different from going to
they're playing the same thing.
Right.
It's just different.
Yeah, I do like the idea of characters having their own unique levels, however, though. So I think like a middle ground between what this game did and what Adventure 2 did would be interesting.
Yeah.
Adventure 2 kind of like was like the same thing, but there were some different character specific levels, like Pumpkin Hill for Knuckles.
Right. Yeah, all the characters have their own sets of levels. Some people accuse the game of reusing level assets, but that's no different than the classic Sonic games having multiple acts for their zones. So, if anything, it's pretty comparable. But
as another. For example, going through Red Mountain as Knuckles is a different experience compared to going through Red Mountain as Sonic. With Knuckles, you can explore certain parts of the first section that Sonic can, whereas Sonic has a second section of the stage that he can go through that Knuckles can't. This is just one of many examples I could use. So the issue of repeat stages really isn't even an issue. What is an issue, though, are that certain cutscenes and boss fights have to be repeated, but that's about it. The second problem is compensation. With a gameplay formula like this, the stages have to be tailored to multiple different characters. As a result, some of the different playstyles, and to some extent the level design, are held back and possibly even...
Again, that's a valid point, but I don't really feel the level design is held back that much, considering, again, for the most part, the levels are designed to compensate, but they still utilize the character's abilities good enough. It's just that some of the playstyles are a bit shallow, though, admittedly. Again, as I mentioned before...
I can definitely say that stuff like Big and, to a certain extent, Amy feels a little shallow.
I mean, again, I think the perfect middle ground would be to combine the styles, level design philosophies of Adventure 1 and 2, whatnot, to find a middle ground. Some levels that are built for every character, some levels that are built for multiple characters, but every character having at least one level tailored to them and their playstyle.
Underdeveloped. Thankfully, this isn't much of an issue, as most of the time the level
Now, I'm just gonna say, though, it would be... I'd say that my ideal level design for Sonic, or for 3D Sonic, would be Beta Windy Valley. Just like have every level that designed like that, or at least most levels with that type of design philosophy of like the big open fields with all the different platforms to jump off on, and like different pathways, It
manages to work its way around multiple different playstyles without having to hold itself back, but there are times where this does show itself as an issue, as sometimes the level design has to compensate for certain playstyles by dumbing itself down or through the means of a gimmick. A good example of this is Casinopolis. You can tell they made the stage specifically for Knuckles, but they just had to somehow shove Sonic in there. So you're given a dumb gimmick that requires you to collect a certain amount of rings that you can cash in to create a pile of coins that acts as a pathway to the goal. Fortunately, we did get 2 pretty cool pinball minigames, one of them even being based off Knights.
Admittedly, there is some nice world building in the Casinopolis level, because, you know, the more coins, you know, the more rings you collect, you know, there is, like, this statue that, like, grows, you know, in the casino, and you actually see it appear in the Knuckles campaign, which is nice. And again, I also kind of neglected to talk about the world building, which was one of the strongest aspects of Adventure 1's campaigns.
Yeah, it definitely feels like an adventure.
Yeah.
No pun real intended.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what I'm going to mention when talking about 06, because again, I'm probably going to make a lot of callbacks to Adventure in the 06 review, given how much that game wants to be. That game is essentially, you know, Sonic Adventure, but edgier, whatnot.
I don't compare 06. I mean, like, it's similar. There's similarities to the gameplay, like, but like, I feel like it's different in its own way.
Right. Oh, yeah, totally. You know,
Like,
tone-wise, it's different, that's for sure.
Yeah, I just, as much as I think Sonic Story should be at least a little bit more edgier, I think Sonic 06 just kind of made it a little too edgy, you know?
Right, yeah, there's a middle ground, and,
Same
but...
problem with Shadow the Hedgehog as well.
Right. Yeah.
Knights.
Don't sing my lunch money.
There's the Desmond cameo.
Don't sing my lunch money. My dad gave me that lunch money. My dad.
And the third and final flaw is quality consistency. Now, it's no secret that...
You know, I neglected to talk about this entire gameplay section in the original review. I think it's, you know, I think the Tornado gameplay in both you know, Adventure and Unleashed were pretty mediocre, all things considered. Like, but I think it's better in Adventure than it is in than it is in Unleashed, because at least you have full control over the tornado, as opposed to Unleashed, where it's just a over-glorified QuickTime event.
Yeah, the Tornado in Unleashed was just boring, along being very frustrating to S-Rank.
Oh, right.
Why the Wii and PS2 version remove those?
Right. I mean, it's possible to have... With the technology they had around that time, they could have just made a more faithful recreation of the Panzer Dragoon gameplay that they tried to imitate in the, you know, Adventure 1 whatnot, but again...
You would want your game to be consistently good throughout its duration. When it comes to a platform like Sonic Adventure that has multiple different playstyles, this could be a problem. What if some of them are bad? What if all of them are bad? Granted, you can still have a game with one consistent playstyle, and it can still be a bad game.
Again, I say my opinion on this game is still consistent. Oh yeah, that's right. I was gonna mention, because you know how I said Adventure was basically, you know, the middle ground, like the closest you'll get to like a, you know, a classic 3D classic Sonic game. Well, you see, Sonic Lost World tried, you know, Lost World wanted to be a 3D classic Sonic game. It just ended up being a crappy Mario clone. You know.
Yeah, it doesn't understand that momentum and speed is Sonic's gimmick.
Right.
It just toned down to the point where it kind of just neutered Sonic's identity.
And the art style, too, it's babyified garbage as well, because it... Like, if you look at the Badnik designs, like, the Badnik designs in Generations were top fucking notch. They actually, like, looked threatening and, you know, mechanical and whatnot. You know, look like...
Yeah, they do feel like what Dr. Eggman would build to conquer the world.
And then in Lost World, it's just, ooh, woo, baby. Look at the little baby robots. You're killing babies.
Yeah,
basically,
Sonic murders
you know.
babies.
Yeah, he's killing little baby robots. Even the egg pawns, which were always, cartoony, were made even more cartoonier, and that was, like, not... And it did not work to its advantage at all, because, like, the egg pawns looked worse, In general, it downgraded the art style so much. Sonic Lost World ruined an entire generation of Sonic games. Yeah.
Couldn't have said it myself.
I mean, you could also say that, Sonic Colors... I'm saving my opinion on Sonic Colors for when I eventually get around to reviewing it, but I won't deny that that also kind of kickstarted a lot of things that, I would say would go on to damage, modern Sonic games later on. Again, I'll explain to that when I get to that review. I'm still saving my opinions for that game as, like, until I, review it and whatnot, but again, moving forward.
At least you're dealing with one consistent playstyle. And
Let me just say, though, out of the gate, that I am aware that, Colors is still better than Forces and Lost World, so I'll say that much.
Most definitely, yes.
bad playstyles. For many other people, this is often a point of criticism with not just adventure, but almost every 3D Sonic game of the 2000s. This hate extends even beyond the playstyles to just Sonic's friends in general. A lot of the hate towards the side characters in the Sonic series is honestly ridiculous. With all that said, let's talk about each individual playstyle to see if any of them are good.
Okay. Oh, and, yeah, I did have to borrow cutscene footage, from others, so... Because, again, when I re-recorded the gameplay footage, I just played off of an already beaten save file and didn't really want to redo the story for that. See people quoting the, modern Sonic games in, the chat. Anyways.
No copyright law is gonna stop me. That's the line I specifically remember from Colors.
I mean...
I remember people used to call that comedy height.
I mean, it's not funny. It makes no sense in the context of the game itself. But at the same time, I kind of have to appreciate it being a YouTuber and whatnot, And given how shitty the copyright system on YouTube is, how fucking broken it is when it comes to... And I know that's going to... Well, anyways, moving forward.
I already sort of briefly talked about Sonic, so we'll just get him out of the way. His campaign is the overall best out of the 6. He has the best controls, the best level design, the most fun gameplay, and has the simplest objectives. And is overall a good 3D successor to classic 2D games. Tails' campaign is alright. In his stages, you're racing against either Sonic or Eggman. While his stages are fun, they kinda sort of feel like an afterthought. Like, it feels like not much thought was put into them, and you can just cheese through most of them. They're still fun, though. In the Knuckles stages, your objective is to collect Master Emerald Shards, with there being 3 in each stage. It's pretty fun to explore these environments and to find certain areas that you wouldn't find as any other characters. They're also pretty easy, too. Overall, the Knuckles stages are pretty enjoyable. Amy's gameplay is centered around getting to the goal while being chased by Zero. It's pretty fun to use Amy's hammer to bounce off of shit, and some of the level design is pretty good, especially in Hot Shelter. However, her startup speed is way too slow, and her momentum breaks way too easily.
I will say, of all, like, the play styles, I would say that, Tails is essentially the most undercooked, like, when it comes to just overall content. Like, evidently, his flight, like, the whole, like, racing this character gimmick was just, in general, I mean, as is Tails by concept, Tails' gameplay in Sonic games has and always will be the easy mode and whatnot. And I've had my own ideas on like how to like sort of like redo Tails to make him like more original, make it like more unique and whatnot. I will say though, what they did with Tails in this game is still a lot better than what they did with him in 06. And I'd even say Adventure 2, despite how controversial, despite how odd, the idea was to put him in a mech, it still was a lot better, again, than what they did with him in 06. And the main issue with is 06. I mean, again, I'm getting ahead of myself there, whatnot.
Making her a little bit annoying to control. Her gameplay is just okay. In Gamma's gameplay, you basically shoot shit. You lock onto as much...
I like, though, that, all the quote-unquote odd characters like Amy, Gamma, and Big get their own unique level, separate from...
Yeah, I can appreciate it in their own right.
Right, that's different from, like, Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, like Hot Shelter. That was... I mean... It was easily the best level for Gamma, that's for sure, because, it's like a fun as hell shooting gallery and whatnot, but...
targets as you can and release the fire button. In these stages, there is a timer that counts down, and if it reaches 0, you die. Destroying enemies adds time, and the more you lock onto, the more time is added. While this is a neat concept, the execution is quite underwhelming. His stages are so easy and short that you can really just breeze through them without even having to destroy almost any of the enemies. The only stage that actually takes use of Gamma's gameplay is Hot Shelter. Overall, Gamma's gameplay is just shallow. This goes back to what I said
No, I
earlier about
disagree.
how
I
level
think
design has
Gamma's
to
gameplay was
compensate for-
really good.
Yeah, that was fun.
I think it's
Yeah.
a bit more expensive than you're giving it credit for.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, again, a lot of the concepts here work. It's just that, again, some of the... I won't deny that I did... I won't deny the fact that I did sell it a little bit short in some areas. It's just that, again, I felt it was the best utilized in Hot Shelter. But, like, stuff like the timer and whatnot were never really that, strict enough. And the levels were, again, a bit short. But truth be told, yeah, Gamma's gameplay still is a lot of fun. In just the way... just how satisfying and cathartic it is to, like, just lock onto a bunch of enemies. And, release the button. And, and just the general... how well he controls. I won't deny the fact that he's just, like, the fun powerhouse character, but I do feel that some of the level design could have... And again, this... again, it's more so just that I feel that it's one level that utilized his abilities to, like, his best extent, and that was, again, Hot Shelter. I heard of this one Sega game. I think it was on the Saturn. It was called, I think it was called Burning Rangers, was it?
Hmm.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
I'm gonna look this...
I don't exactly know.
I'm gonna look this up real quick, hold on. Hold on. Yes, Burning Rangers. It was a Sega Saturn game. I've heard somebody compare Gamma's gameplay to that, but I'm not entirely sure. But in general, But, now I think about it, yeah, I do disagree with my original position on Gamma's gameplay. It is easily at least the second best playstyle in the game. I still, however, feel that in many ways Adventure 2 improved on the gameplay, despite it, though it did admittedly make the controls worse, but it improved on it in terms of like an enemy placement and like overall level design basis. But
multiple different playstyles, and as a result, these playstyles are held back. Gamma is.
I will say I do really like run and gun games. Like just
Yeah, they tend to be pretty good.
yeah, like
Contra.
yeah, Contra, Mega Man, Turrican, Gunstar Heroes. Also one of
And those games do tend to be very fun.
yeah, Ratchet and Clank as well. In general, yeah.
The prime example of this. Even then, his gameplay is still decently fun.
I swear, if I had a nickel for every time I said it in general, just
So yeah, that's basically all the playstyles and.
oh, here it comes,
Adventures.
here it comes. Here's the big
That's it.
epic rant, the
I'm
big epic
totally not
rant of
leaving
this
anything out.
video game review.
Nothing more. That's all there is. Oh, God. Okay, yes, there is one more playstyle to cover. Big the Cat's fishing stages. I'm just gonna put this in the most nicest way possible. Fuck these stages. Big the Cat's gameplay is literally the fucking worst. For one thing, who thought this was a good idea?
It's not the worst if you know what you're doing, and if you get used to the gameplay in general. It's just, and there I go. There I go again, saying in general. But it gets better if you just understand the gameplay. It's just that it doesn't necessarily fit with Sonic in general.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just,
Well, I mean, like, I guess it was good to try something different, but
Well, I heard a rumor that this was supposedly made for a Sega Saturn peripheral. Which was used for, I think, one of those Bass Pro games. I think that's what it was called. What it was? It was used for a fishing game.
yeah, Sega did have an accessory for the Dreamcast that utilized something similar
Right.
for fishing. But somehow Sonic Adventure doesn't support the accessory from what I could tell.
Right.
it would have been interesting if it had, but
Well, regardless, let us continue this.
Yes, because obviously whenever I think about Sonic the Hedgehog, or any action platformer for that matter, I obviously think about fishing. That's obviously the most important thing about these games. Actually, how about no? When I think about these games, I don't think about fishing, I think about fast-paced action. Having a gameplay style like fishing in an action platformer is like having a first...
Fast-paced action with momentum physics and platforming and whatnot, But, oh, you're going to say something, Shay Snowden?
well, this was not like off topic, but like you can't have fishing games and action game like an action game or an adventure game as well.
What you
Twilight
said?
Princess have a fishing mini game, but that was just off topic.
Oh, wait, were you saying, like, you can or can't?
You say you can.
Right,
Like,
I mean, it does, admittedly, in many ways, it does kind of flesh out adventure. It makes it feel, more like an adventure. It's just that, forcing the players to play this.
Yeah, it should have been an optional 100% thing.
Right. Or at least, and this is the one time I would have been okay with a, play it for you, option. You know how some games, like a lot of the more recent Mario games prior to Odyssey, would have a option. If you like, anytime if you keep on like fucking up over and over again, it'd like give you an option, just like play it for you, or give you like an invincibility thing. Like if they did that for these specific different gameplay, I can totally I don't think these would have gotten as much hate, all things considered.
I mean, they're not that hard. I mean,
They're not
once you know
hard.
how to do it.
They're not hard if you know what you're doing. But they do. But they are poorly. I wouldn't even say they're poorly programmed. The collision detection is still awkward as all hell, but it's just in general. If you know what you're doing, they're kind of painless. But they're still the worst of all the playstyles, simply because it's just the most out of place.
Segment in a character action game. Oh, wait, they did that in the first Devil May Cry game. Okay. Well, it's like having beat-em-up gameplay in a Pac-Man World game. Oh, wait.
There's the obligatory Pac-Man reference.
That's what the majority of World 3 was.
Of course.
But still,
The Numen
the
from
point I'm
Pac-Man.
trying to make is, it doesn't fit very well. Not to mention, the stages are barely even functional. Most of the time, whenever I catch Froggy, he basically manages to get away without giving me the chance to catch him. And on the rare instances that I do get to catch him, and I try to reel him in, close to achieving my goal, the game decides to fuck things up and
realize
get
it.
away. And no, it's not the stamina that breaks, it's the collision detection. Worst of all, Big's entire story is basically pointless. You could literally remove him from the story and nothing would have to be changed. Nothing of substance would be lost. As far as Big as a character goes, while I don't find him to be a bad character, I do feel that the Sonic fandom's attempt to turn him into an LOL funny random meme XD has kind of ruined the novelty of his character for me. It was really bad in 2017 and especially horrid in 2016. Every meme, every post made by the Sonic Twitter referencing this motherfucker made my hatred for him and his playstyle grow more and more. Alright.
I think it was a little bit harsh, even if it was by a good perspective.
Right. I mean, again, I do agree that I was kind of overbearing on that particular thing. But the in general, I still do think that whole period where they tried to push Big as this LOL XD meme was again a bit. It was just forced and not funny. But that's that. That's.
In total, we have one playstyle that's pretty good, one that's pretty bad, and 4 that are just okay. That's pretty good, actually. So, using the other characters as an excuse to trash Sonic Adventure doesn't really work, considering how most of them are just fine. Now, if you don't care about any of the other characters and just want to play as Sonic only, then you can just do that. You get fast-paced gameplay with 10 cool zones and a couple of neat bosses here and there. Granted, you won't get to play the actual final boss if you're just in it for Sonic, but whatever. The other 5 stories plus the additional final boss is there if you want more. But
I'm mixed on this.
They focus mostly on Sonic.
Okay, I'm mixed on that point I make in that particular argument, because again, I still agree with it to some extent. Tails and the rest of the gameplay styles are basically extra, because the main course is Sonic's gameplay. But I mean, saying that just play Sonic's gameplay, it's not necessarily a good excuse, because
You're not going to play the game without it. I mean, that's not the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think playing just Sonic just kind of sells the game short.
right. I mean, yeah, because and as is, you only have that's only like 10% of maybe 20% of like the overall experience. To be fair, well, maybe 50% given how significantly shorter each of the other characters' playstyles, each of the other characters' stories are. That said, well, at least with Adventure, 3 levels with Big the Cat, or 3 levels with Amy or 4 levels with Big the Cat is a lot more tolerable than, the entirety of Shadow's campaign in 06. I will say that.
Yeah.
Oh man, am I spoiling the 06 review already?
Ooh, nice tease, man.
Yeah.
And if they can get that right, then we're good. Case closed. The stages are some of the most memorable.
That said, I still think most of the playstyles are okay. Even Big is not that bad in a retrospect. It's frustrating when you're trying to get used to it, but once you get used to it, there are really no truly terrible playstyles. There are some that are undercooked, like Tails, but for the most part, you have some fun ones like Gamma and Knuckles. And even Amy has some of her own highlights. I can appreciate what Big does for the world building of Sonic Adventure. So there's that at least.
When it comes to 3D Sonic, Emerald Coast, Windy Valley, Twinkle Park, Speed Highway, you name it. The level variety is very good. This game is also very spectacle driven, and it throws a lot of unique level set pieces and crazy scenarios at you. I'm talking getting chased by killer orchids, grabbing onto the bottom of helicopters as it flies away, acting as a means of transportation, scaling down a giant building, running away from a giant boulder, snowboarding down a snowy mountain, kind of like the original Ice Cap in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and avoiding the missiles of a giant cannon on the bottom deck of a big aircraft, then directing a rocket back at the cannon, destroying it. Then you appear on top of the deck, avoiding the missiles and bullets from the turrets, with pieces of the ship crumbling off as you run through it, overall creating a sense of urgency.
Okay, so about that last part, again, I am in agreement that Skydeck is janky as hell when it comes, as a level on its own. It's janky as hell, but the set pieces are still impressive to me because of just how the sense of scale with a lot of the the spectacle, with a lot of the spectacle of that level. There's just Hey, can you guys hear me now?
Days hour.
Yay.
Hey, can you hear me now? Yo, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
I hear
Okay.
you.
All right. So, did you guys get what I was saying about Skydeck?
Yeah, very janky. At the same time, its set pieces are kind of impressive for the Dreamcast.
Yeah, well, no,
Especially
there's.
for 1999.
I mean, on a sense of scale, and just immersion, I'd say they're still, incredibly impressive, because, just, again, it's something I would have to, expand upon in a, in a different video, perhaps, but
those are just some examples. Overall, the sheer variety and spectacle is pretty great. And the sense of scale also adds a bit of immersion to the game as well. The level design is, for the most part, good. There is a good mix between speed and platforming, and while the stages are a bit linear, they're a good kind of linear, straight to the point, but still decently open-ended. With some neat secret hidden and occasional split pathways. There is actually one level in this game that was cut during development that I wish they kept, this one being the beta version of Windy Valley. This stage looks so huge with so many different pathways and tons of platforming to boot. Unfortunately, it got cut, probably because the developers thought the players would get lost in it.
actually, I think it probably had to do with how it was affecting the game's frame rate, or just like the frame rate in general, not working well at the level, like the big scope of the level. Like, I think it was too big for the game to handle. That's what I've heard anyway. It seems like a logical, seems like one of the more logical explanations. Yeah. And I mean, it was a pretty fucking huge stage. I mean, just looking at this screenshot, it looks as big as like one of the hub worlds. So
after all, it is the second.
Yeah, it's definitely quite ambitious.
Yeah, again, it's one of my hopes for a adventure remake if they are doing that, to just like reintroduce this stage, this particular level.
You can tell the developers were really passionate about it, going as far as to reference it in one of Amy's cutscenes. It's easy to see that they were disappointed with the removal of it. Fortunately, a couple of modders were able to discover a layout for the stage in the files of one of the game's prototypes. So the modders recreated the layout and the textures, and eventually the beta Windy Valley saw the light of day as a mod. And let's just say it looks glorious. I totally would have preferred this over the actual Windy Valley that we got in the end. Not saying the one we got was bad or anything. In fact, I quite like the final Windy Valley, but it's a bit too simple, and even a bit too automated. Granted, it is the second stage though, so it kind of makes sense why. Actually, that's kind of an issue I have a lot with the game's level design. There's a lot of automation. Like, for example, in this game, when you go into a loop, instead of having to build up the momentum to go through it, it just pulls you in. Granted, all this automation is understandable considering the technical limitations of the time. Having steps like loops and corkscrews require...
I think automation is good when it's utilized as a way to transition, level segments from like one segment of gameplay to another. Like, think about like the launch pads in Mario Galaxy, how it's basically just a little bit of spectacle that's rewarded to the player after overcoming a platforming challenge. I think automation handled like that is perfectly understandable. Unlike the way later games like. I mean, there really is no excuse to just have a shit ton of automation nowadays when it comes to, just current, Sonic, whatnot. I don't know. Anyways.
Player input would have caused a lot of technical problems, so they had to do this. Well, whatever. At least there aren't too many scripted sections. And as long as they actually work, then we are good. Okay. Eesh. Alright.
There was a particular glitch that happened in my original recording, where, it was in Skydeck. And I think it was the gravity section, or it was the third act, or the where Sonic or where how the gimmick with the whole flip flop of the the ship and whatnot, how you had to like constantly rearrange the ship to traverse the third act. There was a glitch where the gravity just was extremely wonky, and and Sonic was, sliding. Okay, it was the rail section, not the rail section. The section where you were running down those bridges, where Sonic was just, gravity was being wonky, and it's hard to explain. I'd have to show it to you, but of course the footage is long gone, so let's just say it got very glitchy. But Sonic Adventure, your experience with it can be pretty inconsistent. I won't deny the fact that the game is glitchy. The extent of how glitchy it is, however, can kind of be exaggerated by some people. I don't think it's unplayable like some people like to make it out to be, because it totally is not if you know what to avoid. The fact you have to know how to avoid certain glitches is pretty, bad in of itself, but I don't think it affects the game too much. Or at least, I
can definitely agree.
Yeah.
Especially in SADX, where the glitches get worse, in my opinion.
Right, because again, the DX port kind of just screwed up a lot of things. I think the Dreamcast port can still be glitchy to some degree. Maybe it has to do with the copy you own, perhaps sometimes. I don't know. I think I don't know. But because again, this was recorded off of the Dreamcast version, and I think when that one section in Windy Valley, screwed up, I think I was holding down on some part of the control stick, the joystick. Yeah.
What? Oh my god. Okay, we gotta. What the hell is that?
I might as well talk about one of this game's bigger issues, the collision detection in the camera. This game is very buggy, and the collision detection can be very wonky and off at times. There have been moments where I was going through a scripted section and the game just glitched out, ultimately killing me.
That is one of the most overused examples of glitches in Sonic Adventure. I mean, it's an example. I mean, yeah, it's a common one, but it's very avoidable if you just, let... I think it was introduced in the DX port.
Yeah, the glitchy loop-de-loop.
That glitchy loop-de-loop, and again, it just kind of gets annoying when people, try to use that as an example of why Adventure is a bad game,
Yeah,
especially with the DX port. People who trash talk the DX port often seem to bring up that. And yeah, I think that does kind of suck, but there's kind of worse examples of
the game, but it's just one glitch.
Right.
Can be avoided easily if you just play through the game.
Okay, so that section was just me sucking because, that part where I just died. That's all about timing because, again, those badniks, they go back and forth, on a particular angle. You have to time your homing attack in accordance to, the timing of the badnik's movements. So, in general, there was no reason for me to point that out as, a glitchy or, bad collision detection, because that was merely an instance of just the game's timing challenge. And all things considered, I feel like the homing attack chains could utilize more timing challenges like that, just timing the homing attack with the badnik's movement, because that would have at least added a little more layer, a little more of a layer of interactivity to such a section or such a mechanic, such a level design trope, and I think this is the only time where they actually do that. Well, they kind of do that by, giving some, enemies spikes and whatnot, which again isn't nearly as interesting as just having the enemy move.
Well, these can be avoided easily if you just.
But yeah, that there's no. I mean, I guess I'd never really took prior to recording this. I never really took that pathway much before. But like, since I've made this review, I've figured that I just had to time in accordance to the Badnik's movements. But
though there is one section of the game where the collision detection is at its worst. And of course I'm referring to that stupid frickin' snake section in the Lost World. In terms of design alone, it's still really bad, but the collision detection...
And my issue with, when I say that, my issue is just that it's just one section that you have to wait on, and it's this section where you just have to, like, wait for the snake to rise and move, and I felt that, in terms of, like, camera control, and just in general physics, it's not really bad design unless you take into account the physics of this particular section and the camera angles. Because otherwise, it's just an S section. Like, it definitely I would say that it definitely adds to the identity of the level Lost World. Because of the whole, like, puzzle solving, shtick that the level has. It's the second time I've wailed on Sonic and Lost World. No, I'm talking about, wait, what are you talking about, Nick? Because I don't think I was talking about Lost World.
Yeah, Nick, he was talking about...
I was talking about...
Lost World in the Stadium Adventure.
Yeah, see, okay, so there are... In the Sonic games, there are two different Lost Worlds. One Lost World is the game Sonic Lost World. The other Lost World is the level from Sonic Adventure. So yeah, that's a bit confusing that they named one of the games Lost World when there was a level in a previous game called Lost World. That'd be like making another Sonic game and calling it, I don't know, Sonic Metropolis. Like, okay, are we talking about Metropolis, from Sonic Heroes, or Metropolis? No, that was Grand Metropolis. Well, whatever, you get the point of what I'm trying to say. The fact they the name itself is so un-Sonic-y, un-Sonic-like. But the fact that it shares the name with a level is confusing. Kind of like Pac-Land. I won't deny that, Nick. It is kind of like Pac-Land in a way, because Pac-Land, you have the game Pac-Land, and then you have what is essentially the main location of the Pac-Man series, that being Pac-Land. But it's funny though that you thought I was dwelling on Sonic Lost World again when I was just talking about the level Lost World, but then it ended up turning into me dwelling on Lost World again because its name was really dumb. Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Just overall makes it flat out awful. Oftentimes I find myself slipping off the snake and then falling to my death. And when I was recording, I died multiple different times.
Lost World is a level with that's in general, is a mixed bag, because you had some really great sections like the gravity platforms that you had to like press those buttons and they would like form a light that you can like walk on the wall, and you could actually take advantage of like your memorization of like level design and just skip entire sections. Like that's some fun platforming right there. But then you also have like the snake section, which can be really cumbersome, and the section where you had to guide the lights, which again they're not okay. The light section is not bad. It's just that it can be problematic, first time around. And not, first time around in the sense of, oh, you just need to get used to it. More so, it's just that it's kind of wonky in the way it's implemented, whatnot. I still think it's a good level
most
overall,
of them aren't
but
even my fault. Usually most of my deaths in this game are me just being fucking stupid. But here, though, this is just... But I will say this, the game is still playable at the very least. I can still get through the game from beginning to end, experiencing only a few problems here and there, and most of them I can just shrug away. Honestly, I don't really care about the glitches that much. As long as the contents of the game are enjoyable, then I really don't give a fuck. You see, here's how I think. I'd rather play a game that's rough around the edges and glitchy, but still really imaginative and interesting and fun to play, than a game that's technically refined and performs well, but is really dull, bland, and derivative.
Okay, so, oh, you're about to say something? Were you guys about to say something? I mean, no, it's fine. I really do need to replay Galaxy 2 at some point, just to update my opinion on it, because, given how...
Galaxy 2, in my opinion, is way more original than you kind of giving credit for.
Yeah, I mean, again, I need to... Yeah. Because I think it's been a long time since I actually played it. I just remember being disappointed with it, when I first played it. I don't know why. I just didn't enjoy it as much as I did Galaxy 1. Sometimes it's just like that. Yes, I agree, Soshi the Yoshi. Galaxy 2 is more original than NSMB2. I am. I guess I am, Factor 5 Fnax Echo Fighter. But no, seriously, I do need to replay this, Galaxy 2 at some point, because, again, I don't know. I could have used Lost World as another example. I could have used the Lost World. Okay. I could have used this as an example to bash on. Okay, I can't talk today. I can't. Again, I could have used Lost World as an example again, because I do feel that game is a perfect example of this, because it is derivative and unoriginal, or just Sonic 4, because that game, Sonic 4 especially, is derivative. And of course there's this whole part where I say, oh, I think I just dug my own grave because I said something bad about a really loved game. Of course, nobody really cared that much.
However, if a game is glitchy to the point where it's practically unplayable, then yes, it's a shit game. Thankfully, Sonic Adventure does not fall into this category, for the most part. The boss fights are hit or...
Big Rigs is enjoyable in an ironic fashion, Just...
Yeah, it's especially reversing, because...
Yeah, because you just leave,
Leave the game.
you leave the plane of existence.
Yeah.
And oh look, the video is lagging.
Some of them are either really pathetic or drag out for far too long.
I don't know, I kind of like the, I do find there to be a little bit of nuances in some of the boss fights in Sonic Adventure, like the Egg Hornet. It's the first boss in the game, so of course it was going to be a little bit easy. I mean, by comparison, Mario 64 did not have particularly impressive boss design either, because that was pretty bare bones there too.
The worst fight in the game is Chaos 4. This fight just drags out for far too long, and most of it is just Chaos screwing around underwater, occasionally doing a weak-ass attack once in a while, and occasionally popping its head out, allowing for you to attack. Again, this fight just drags out, and is overall really boring. And you want to know what the worst part about it is? You have to fight this boss 3 times.
I still stand by that Chaos 4 is one of the worst fights in the series, but... It's a lot more tolerable compared to like a certain boss fight that I will rip into when I get into 06. To give you a hint, it's not silver, because silver isn't that bad once you get used to how his fight works, even though it's still bad by design, but you know. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. 3 frickin' times. There are boss fights in this game, though, that are actually pretty decent, even being good, like Chaos 2 and the Egg Viper and the Egg Walker, Zero, and Beta. The hub worlds
The beta fight is really fun.
are pretty cool.
I'll say that.
They're not too small, but they're not too big either. Getting from one objective to the next is pretty simple, and not very troublesome, if you're paying attention, that is. There are also some really neat landmarks, and I really like how it interconnects with the stages. Located within these hub worlds are upgrades for the playable characters that either improve already existing abilities or adds in a new ability. This kind of reminds me of the upgrades in Mega Man X. Personally, I like this a lot, and many of these are cool, like Sonic's Light Speed Dash, Impulse, and Fatal Attack. But some of them are pretty useless, like Amy's Spinning Hammer. Within these hub worlds are Chow Gardens. But I wanted to save discussion about these for when I review Sonic Adventure 2, so yeah. Newly introduced in Sonic Adventure are emblems. You obtain these by completing the regular stage objectives and finding them throughout the hub worlds. But you may be wondering, what do you earn when you collect all the emblems?
Okay, so originally this was going to be a joke where I talk about what do you get from earning the emblems, and it's just a black screen of nothing, because you get basically nothing. But because I cut out the section where I talked about, DX, I ended up explaining that, yeah, you do get something in DX. So, but I decided not to talk about that because I, cut out the entire DX section and whatnot. But,
Yeah, I believe in both the Dreamcast and because I think in all versions, getting all the emblems unlocks Metal Sonic.
I don't think Metal Sonic was an unlockable skin in the original. Yeah, I don't think he was. I don't know.
Like, I don't remember him being in the... I remember him being in DX, but...
Yeah, let me check.
Right. But, for all intents and purposes, if you want my, opinion on the DX version, well, I would say, go watch Cybershell's video on it. But I actually do have a lot of nostalgia for the DX version, since that's the first one I played. So I can't really say I think it's, terrible. But I do honestly prefer the way the Dreamcast version looks. I like the improvements DX makes, all things considered. Like the ability...
the character models.
Well, no, I still prefer the way I prefer the stylistic idea of the character models in Adventure 1. They are definitely like higher polygon count in DX, that's for sure. It's just that the environment changes, and some of the little details have just kind of been irked a bit, whatnot. See, looking at the chat a little bit. Yeah, I can understand not really being into the Chow Garden. I like the Chow Garden a lot, not as much as the main gameplay, but like the amount of detail they put into the Chow Garden and Adventure 2 in particular is pretty outstanding. And just how much there is in terms of. Anyways, let's get this moving along.
Let's talk about the presentation for a moment. When this game was initially released, the graphics were pretty impressive at the time. Nowadays, they're kinda dated, but even if they are sort of dated, one thing that does hold up is the art direction. It's like a good mix between the cartoonish style and a more grounded reality-like style, resulting in a very nice aesthetic. The character designs are also pretty great too. In general, Sonic Adventure and its sequel probably has one of the best art styles in the entire series. While the cutscenes are admittedly bad, for the time this game was released, they were passable. The voice acting gets a lot of crap, but to be honest, the voice acting isn't really even bad. Some of it is, but some of it is also pretty good. And keep in mind, this was probably the actor's first time, so you can't really expect much. The soundtrack is just really good. There was a lot of variety with the different styles.
I know, Ryan Drum had mentioned how weird the casting the directors were for, Adventure because of how, basically they needed the, actors to look to resemble the characters they were to voice. They wanted to get, for the characters, they wanted actors who resembled the character, which it's kind of weird. Well, you know,
Some music like rock, techno, jazz, synth, hip hop, and even some tribal music, and many more styles. The compositions are so damn good, and the variety of instruments and their usage is very pleasing. There are also a number of vocal themes, most of them being specifically character themes. Most of them are pretty great, with Amy's theme being an exception. Sonic Adventure is also the game that brought Crush 40 into the Sonic series. Crush 40 consists of Jun Sonoy as the guitarist who previously did work on the other Sonic soundtracks, like Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and Johnny Giueli as the vocalist.
it's a weird editing cut there.
He was also the vocalist of Hardline and Axel Rudy Pell. I don't have much to say other than they're pretty good. Crush 40 debuted in Sonic Adventure with the song Open Your Heart being the main theme of the game. And it's definitely a classic with a message stating that even in the worst times, things will get better, and it will all be...
Wait a second, did my mic went out again? Oh, fuck. Wait, did it?
You're still hearing in the Discord.
Wait,
We heard you.
I was? Okay, I'm back. No, never mind. Oh, I thought I looked at the chat and I thought... Oh. Okay, so... Alright, okay, I'm thinking good. Now, we're about to get onto one part where I heavily disagree with what I'm about to say, and that is about the game's climax.
fun in the end. Sonic Adventure's soundtrack is just overall great. So after you beat all 6 stories, a final story is unlocked. In this, we find out that Chaos actually survives and goes on to beat the shit out of Eggman and Knuckles and then steals 6 of the Chaos Emeralds. Upon finding out about this, Sonic and Tails rush to get the 7th Emerald, but they are too late as Chaos beats them to it. With all 7 Emeralds, Chaos achieves his perfect form and goes on to destroy Station Square. Upon arriving to the destroyed city, Sonic and friends finally used up Chaos Emeralds. And upon observation, Sonic finds out that only the negative energy was drained, leaving the positive energy to be used. So, with the encouragement of his friends and to Call, Sonic uses the remaining positive Chaos Emerald energy to transform into Super Sonic, thus commencing the final boss. The final boss is,
Alright, okay. So this, as I said before, I'm about to say something I nowadays extremely disagree with. Simply put, I think Sonic Adventure has one of the best climaxes to a Sonic game due to just how much it's built up to. I'd even say it's on par with Doomsday Zone, possibly being even better because it's just built up to, so well, and just, just how fucking raw it is. Like,
well, it has its atmosphere. It's got the kick-ass music, and not to mention, it is a supersonic final battle that's actually based around the game's central mechanics, which is pretty rare. It is climactic for what it's worth, however, on a quality standpoint, it leaves a lot to be desired.
I mean, I won't deny the fact that there are some, technical issues to the fight, but I don't think they're that bad. They really aren't, because, in fact, I kind of overblown the flaws of this fight, because in general, what it does right totally outshines the what it does wrong in terms of, you get the point.
This
Anyway.
all has to do with the previously mentioned awful collision detection. I'm always getting stuck in the fucking stage geometry, making the fight more frustrating than it should be. It's already hard enough trying to avoid his attacks within the narrow space you're given.
Man,
But
that's
it's
just bad playing in general.
No, it's just...
What?
Like with the getting, with the roads, you getting stuck in the stuff.
Yeah, what about it?
It feels like you've been doing some bad playing.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think I was. I hadn't played the game in, a year, and I found myself to just, not be used to the controls, and so I just based it off of, just a bad... I mean, I don't think I was intentionally playing bad. I just, And again, I won't deny the fact that the Dreamcast version does have some collision detection issues in areas that, I mean, I don't know. Again, I need to compare them again at some point, but yeah, this entire part of the review is just bullshit. Not the entire part. This part is just kind of
too much. I'm sorry, but Doomsday Zone, this is not.
Yeah, no, that part in particular, I just have to heavily disagree with, because, I mean, the stakes were higher than before. There was more build-up. The gameplay, I'd honestly argue that as far as Supersonic Final Boss gameplay goes, it's probably the best Supersonic fight we've gotten, objectively speaking. I mean, I could be wrong about this. I probably am. I mean, I did say... Oh, what you're about to say?
I was about to say, it really depends on your opinion. I mean, the boss fight from the final boss from Sonic Adventure 2. I mean, that took Supersonic fights to a whole new level. At least in terms of just general atmosphere, and the tone of the story. Sonic Adventure 2 there really isn't another Sonic game like that. There has never really been another Sonic game like Adventure 2. Of course.
Just in the way. Oh, what's oversaturated, Nick? Are you talking about just Supersonic fights in general? Because yeah, I won't deny the fact that by the time we got to games by the time we got to Heroes, it started to seem like they've just been doing Supersonic fights for every single game. Although we've kind of gone without them the last couple of Sonic games. I wouldn't mind them trying that again in the next, big 3D game, provided it's a completely original game and not a remake. But you see, if you think that's effing amazing, wait until you see what I have in store for World 4's final battle with Spooky. Oh no, I meant your point about your opinion. Okay, well, yeah, Again, this is just one of those instances that, it's just one of the many things I disagree with this original review with because, the chaos, the perfect chaos fight, it's a lot better, way better than I gave it credit for in this original video. That's the biggest issue I have with this review, is that it's just that and I guess it really is just me disagreeing with a lot of what I said before then. I can't really blame myself for, I mean, maybe I can blame myself for the, what I said about, perfect chaos. Because that was just me sucking ass, but, yeah, let's just continue this.
But still, it's pretty epic. After the fight, all of the evil's beaten out of Chaos, and he turns good again. Then Chaos and Nicole ascend to the skies to rest in peace, to which we don't see chaos again. Well, at least not until Sonic Forces.
Okay, wait. Alright. Okay, I thought that was a funny joke. But, when I originally made this script, it was before, Forces came out. So, I was like, this would be the last time we see them. Until Sonic Forces. How will they handle chaos there, building up to the Forces review, which was, again, is still planned as the finale of the retrospective, but since this got delayed beyond the release of Forces, I just decided to add that in as like that happened. Never mind. Because it was so exciting to see Chaos come back, only for him to be reduced to just, fan service bait.
Yeah, Sonic Forces had a bad problem with fan service.
That's the okay, that game was just a perfect example of how not to handle fan service at all. And just just completely abuse, nostalgia. That is the worst example of nostalgia pandering I've seen in... One of the worst examples of nostalgia pandering I've seen in a video game.
Off into the distance, and then the game ends. Roll credits. So that's Sonic Adventure. Is it flawed? Yes. Has it aged poorly? Also yes. Is it a bad game, though? No. Does it deserve hate? Hell no. This game, along with other 3D titles of the 90s, shares similar problems, yet all those other games get a free pass, and yet Sonic Adventure is the one that gets trashed? Sure, it did have Big the Cat, but that's just one playstyle out of 6, with the other 5 being alright. And even if you don't care about the other playstyles, then as I've said before, just play Sonic's campaign and you're good. But even then, most of the other playstyles are not bad. In the end of the day, Sonic Adventure was Sonic Team's first truly 3D Sonic game, so of course there's gonna be flaws. But that doesn't matter, honestly, because you can tell that Sonic Team had a lot of passion and ambition when making this title. And honestly, I think it paid off. So, yeah, Sonic Adventure is just that, a decent game.
I don't necessarily think having passion for the project is necessarily a compensation for the flaws of said project. But I do have a point in that there was a lot of... I do have a point in that there was... The Adventure was a game with a lot of passion put into it,
Yeah,
and then,
I could definitely see that.
There was still a lot of really good attention to detail and the way the world, the way the hub worlds are put together, and just the level design and just how well Sonic controls. This is literally the best Sonic has ever controlled in a 3D environment. Putting aside weird collision detection,
It has its flaws, but it has its highlights that make it a worthwhile title. Next time on the Sonic Retrospective, we will take a look at the successor to Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2.
And it would be a year and a half, I believe, before I end up talking about Adventure 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long ass time.
I started the script for Adventure 2 right after talking about after I uploaded this review. Imagine if Bandai Namco made World 4 threw in Pac-Man or Spooky, then they threw them out like nothing after the first 10 minutes. The rampage would be horrific. Oh yeah.
Yeah, the fan base would be fucking exploding.
Well, we all know how obtuse the Pac-Man fan base is. Let's just say both sides of the fan base, if you will. There are several other filler videos. Like the Freedom Planet one, the my do's and don'ts of potential Sonic Adventure remake, the April Fool's video. But I think for the most part, okay, so again, looking at the comments. Insert comment about Snapcube's SA2 dub. Oh yeah, that dub was funny until Twitter ran it to the ground, but I already talked about that before, so but I think what has been a common theme for this channel was me being active for a while, putting out a couple videos here and there, and then just like going on a hiatus for like what is essentially almost like several months, if not half a year. I think I may have like gone most of 2016 I was absent on my channel. And I know 2018, before the adventure review, I had a lot of shit going on. I didn't really make a comeback until I think what I would consider it after, uploading the do's and don'ts of an adventure remake. I don't think I would make a proper comeback until these two videos. Because it was around 2019 when I decided to bring back the Let's Play from 2016 that I see. Because I felt I did the first part of the Pac-Man World Let's Play really poorly. I thought maybe I should just put this to rest, maybe try again with a different game at some point in the future. But I decided because I wanted a way to get back to YouTube, I thought, why don't I bring this back, just as a little piece of filler content. Thus we brought back the Pac-Man World playthrough. And it's been going on since here and there, I've been spacing out the episodes more and more, though, just so whatnot. But I didn't make a true return until this video. And was this one of the videos we watched during the Spacey when during the 40th anniversary? Did we watch this in we watched a couple of You don't
I don't think we watched this.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. I may have to check actually.
I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, no, we didn't watch that.
Wait, why my Miss Pac-Man video got removed? Wait, it got removed? Hold on, what?
The 10 reasons why Miss Pac-Man wasn't smashed. It wasn't there no more.
It's not around? What? It got removed? Hold on, let me look at this. What?
I was going to ask you about that, actually.
Oh, what? I don't think I got a notification that it got taken down by Viacom. What? And by yeah, the chat's telling me that it got claimed by Viacom. Hold on,
wait.
Let's see.
Oh wait, was that my Pac-Man meme or was
that was mine? Like top 10 reasons why Miss Pac-Man should be in Smash.
Oh.
Oh shit! It was taken down. What? What the fuck? Bruh! What
Wasn't
the?
expecting that to be taking down all things.
Okay,
Yeah,
it
that
was.
was
It was. The chat's telling me it was taken down by Viacom because of the reference I had made to, I guess the security system meme. You know, the Squidward security system meme, which, what the? Hold on. Let me What the fuck? I am. Bruh. Hold on. Where is it? Where is the your videos? Okay, this will take me to YouTube Studio. And as doing it this recently, it did it this recently. What? Okay. Going down.
Man,
Okay,
this is
it
one
got
odd
partially
case.
blocked in some countries in regions. So it got blocked in America for isn't there like a counterclaim I could make? Or
Maybe.
Well, I guess I'm going to a different country now to see your video. See you guys later.
and then
Okay.
and then it turns out that's blocked in that country too.
Well, Southwest is making a lot of money now.
Oh man, fuck Viacom. Viacom can kiss my ass. This
Yeah, but I also hope my meme doesn't get taken down.
Numen, wait.
We're
If
the anniversary.
Viacom is listening right now.
Wait, what?
Was Viacom is listening right now.
Hey Viacom, if you're listening, you can kiss my ass. You know.
Yeah, you might have to file a counterclaim.
Right. I think I'm going to if I can. If I can, I will. I have.
Okay.
I'm going to Canada. What's your guys' plans?
Gotta go to Australia.
You know, I was going to in the Sonic Adventure review, I was gonna go and like have a little clip. I was gonna like have a little media clip from Frasier. You know, it was the one where Niles says "dumbass," whatnot. It was gonna be like one of those like reaction images, one of those reaction clips. It was like gonna be like in response to like the one piece of dialogue by Tails where he says all is well that ends well. You know, I thought it'd be like a little funny moment, but I ended up like not actually including it. But given what we've just witnessed by Viacom, that probably would have met with the same fate. Regardless, I'll deal with that whole situation later. At least after the stream is done. But for now, let's. Wait, what?
Question.
Oh yeah.
Is there be a part 4 of the stream, or?
I think there will be as many parts as long as until we eventually like make it to like the latest upload.
No.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
I bet maybe it was at Games that took down. Maybe at Games had a play in getting it taken down. Because I shit talked to them.
Imagine that.
I shit talked to them a lot.
In fact, I think I actually heard that the at Games thing is getting settled.
Okay.
There wasn't really any major sue battle. It was mostly just settling down. I'll probably have to share an image in the server.
Right. I know, okay, so Spin Dash 2002's, Discord server, right?
Yep.
Okay, wait, what are you saying, Shady Soden?
I personally don't.
I know you don't, but I know Spacey does. I know Spin Dash, shared this video in that server. And I have a feeling, knowing their how their attitude is towards early 2000s Pac-Man fans, I wouldn't be surprised if it was just, more like cynical bashing, being like, you probably know where I'm getting at. And I'm probably provoking that by even mentioning it here.
As much as I like Namco Kid and other people around that category, I think Namco Kid does get a little bit too defensive about the 40th anniversary, in my opinion.
Yeah, no,
I get it.
I feel they can be just as toxic as the World fans that they criticize. Don't get me wrong, the World fans can get a little bit, don't want to be offensive here, but you get the point. The World fans...
they feel like, any single hint of Pac-Man is apparently a World 4 hint to them. Like, whoa, a Pac-Man plushie or something? That means World 4's coming out. And of course, then the Maze fans get toxic and like, oh no, what the hell are you doing, man? You want World 4? And it just kind of turns into a little battle.
Yeah, I mean, both sides are complete aids, honestly. I won't deny.
Yeah.
And, but here, in this video, I was as respectful as possible. Like, I said the purpose of this...
I think it's because the guy was associated with, Marcus, Maybe that's what also made them lesser in your eyes. Thankfully, I mentioned distance from him, but to you, you're still kind of friends with him. I guess that's why they also hate you.
Okay, well, I don't really want to... Okay, I don't really want to mention that whole situation, because I feel that's a bit, sensitive at the moment. So, but the point I'm trying to make here is that, but yeah, and, to answer your question, I'm looking at the chat. Yeah, Spendash is the one behind those really great, Pac-Man renders. It's just kind of sad that he has this, like, he's part of the mentality that,
Yeah, it's to the point where they even wanted to sue Marcus, which, I mean, dislike Marcus all you want. He deserves some of the hate, but,
I mean,
suing him, it feels like it's going a little too far. Like...
Yeah, no, suing somebody over internet drama is, it's retarded, honestly. It is.
It's very... I mean, look, it's just... In fact, that's probably one of the reasons why the situation is blown up this much.
Right,
to the extreme suing.
Yeah, the Pac-Man fandom is just... It's funny...
It's going itself, and...
I mean, the Pac-Man fandom, it's, just as ill as the Sonic fan base. I mean, the Sonic fan base is a culmination of a lot of different problems. But, Pac-Man fans, it's just that because it's a series that, it's a complicated issue, all things considered. But, I mean, it's just the visceralness and, toxicity of a lot of, from a lot of different people. I feel like, again, say what you will about, say what you will about some of the notable World fans, but I honestly feel that, the ones who are, super defensive about the 40th anniversary, they're probably worse, in my opinion, because it's like...
Yeah, the only people I can think that are worse than being overly defensive...
It's like you can't fucking say shit about, anything in regards to the 40th anniversary, or anything about the current state of Pac-Man, regardless even if it's true, because, let's face it, there is an issue with nostalgia pandering. As is, the series is only...
the opposite problem with 2000's Pac-Man.
Right.
While 2000's Pac-Man was full of ideas and originality, but just got crappy developers.
Right.
Modern Pac-Man has the opposite problem of having very competent developers that actually know what they're doing, but yet they aren't really going beyond the comfort zone. I understand why these Maze fans don't want Cat to go out of the comfort zone, because World 3, the 25th anniversary almost killed the franchise, and Ghost of the Adventures almost killed the franchise, but I feel like we should allow Namco to get some more room with experimentation. You know, it doesn't have to be the next World 4, but it could be something. Oh, it could be something more ambitious. You know.
Well, and I mean, I don't want to. I was gonna make a comment about, Namco milking the hell out of anime games, but I would like to think that they do want to utilize Pac-Man as like a mascot. Utilize him. In terms of like making, brand new experiences with him. I do want to think that they want to do that, and not just, have the occasional nostalgic throwback game and whatnot. But anyways, yeah, it just feels like nowadays that, and I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be completely honest, it feels like Pac-Man is a series that is only kept around for cynical nostalgia pandering. As is, because...
Yeah,
like, it doesn't need to be World 4. Like, we don't need World 4. We don't even need a 3D platformer. I would love a 3D platformer. I want a 3D platformer. I want World 4. I do. And, there have been weirder video game sequels in the past, so it's very possible for World 4 to happen. I mean, if, KO the Kangaroo can, if KO the Kangaroo can get a new game in this day and age, so can the World Series. But even then, I don't think that's what the series needs. It just needs something fresh. It needs...
Yeah, it also needs a proper console release on PC, Switch, Xbox Series X, and PlayStation 5. Because all the latest games for the 4th anniversary, there's a few mobile games, a few web games, and a Stadia release. A Stadia release.
The Stadia...
Even the Maze fans can't defend the fucking Stadia release.
Right, no, you can't. That is fucking retarded. And, okay, again, they will make the claim that it's first on Stadia, which, this...
Yeah,
the fact it even is on the Stadia to begin with is... cancerous. It's complete AIDS. That's anti-consumer as hell.
Because Pac-Man's a precise game, and online laggy connection is detrimental to that.
I hope that the game, if it fails because it's on the Stadia and they think, oh, well, maybe they just don't want it on consoles. That'd be complete bullshit, because they should port it to consoles. They should port it to PC, that it should be on there first, not on the fucking Stadia, unless they were forced into a contract with the fucking Stadia. But no, I mean, in Apple Arcade too, exclusives to systems that most people are not gonna bother with.
Uses those services.
Yeah, Apple Arcade in particular. I'm an Android user. I don't fucking touch.
I have both iOS and Android stuff.
Right. I'm not going to fucking support Apple at all. I'm not touching that shit with a 10-foot pole. I don't support Apple at all. So, I mean, yeah, and it's just the fact. But I mean, in general, just the mismanagement of the series, the fact that people won't deny that there is an issue. And again, I'm probably going to be lumped in with, the other World fans because, I expressed disappointment in the current series. And I mean, it's just, I mean, I guess...
Some of my friends are also some of my friends are more some of them are Maze. I don't want to just be labeled as one of those toxics just because I kind of like the World trilogy. Even World 3 I kind of like because it has a good story.
I think World 3 has a lot of nuances, that I do like. And I think there are some, neat mechanics. And in general, I just like what it did to Pac-Man's character. Even if, he had some particularly out-of-character moments, the ending. But... it's just that I just feel that there's this attitude towards early 2000s Pac-Man fans that it's just extremely toxic. And it really just goes to show that Namco's management of the series has just extremely been, just for God's sake, no stupid marketing like toilet humor. I don't. Okay. I know you're probably talking about
Ghostly Adventures.
Ghostly Adventures. Yeah, Ghostly Adventures. Not good. The marketing there was just atrocious. Ghostly Adventures was a fucking train wreck as far as just what it did to the series. The games were good. I can't say much about the show because I haven't watched the entirety
I've
of
seen the show. It's okay-ish.
I've watched
Just really was humor-based for the story we wanted to tell.
I know
Like,
the first I know the first episode kind of like there was something I liked about the first episode. I haven't watched past that. I know is it still on Netflix?
I think it is still on Netflix.
Okay. But regardless, in general, just the fandom, and again, if you I mean, it doesn't matter. I don't care what someone thinks about World 2, alright? It's just the idea. I mean, World 2 has...
I understand why some people could hate World 2. This is someone who thinks World 2 is his favorite game of all time.
I mean, okay, World 2 is... It has its issues, I won't deny. It's one of my favorite games of all time. But I won't deny the fact that it has its issues, alright? Like the fucking submarine. In that entire section, and the and just then some of the 100% completion can be a pain in the ass. Even though, okay, let's get this out of the way. A game does not have to be 100% completion does not have to play a role in whether or not a game is good. That's an extra thing. Even though I do find the 100% completion in World 2 to be fun. I think I'm getting off topic, but the point is that, say what you will about Marcus, or Super Mario Fan 1, 2, 3311, or, say what you will about Marcus, alright? But he is right about evolution. Series need to evolve, otherwise they'll grow stagnant, I mean, I love...
I see Marcus has some bad takes, but I can understand his sentiment.
Right.
About evolution to an extent. Because, while I don't think a franchise has to entirely sacrifice its roots to evolve, I still think trying some new stuff out is good and healthy for a franchise.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Doesn't have to be complete a 180 on the franchise's head, but something that can at least break the monotony that can at least help to keep the franchise fresh.
Yeah, I mean, definitely there is a level of, there is a line you can eventually cross when it comes to, trying new things, like, because you don't want a Sonic Boom, and that's for sure. But, or in Pac-Man's case, or World 3. But, I still, I kind of wonder how the perception of Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures would be if they kept the original designs, the original art style. If it was just, the same character designs and art style, just, different universe, different gameplay, I wonder how people would perceive it. Because otherwise, gameplay-wise, it's still rather solid, and just in the way, it utilizes the mechanics, the mechanics, utilizes level design tropes from previous games, Anyways, I wouldn't be surprised if in, and again, I'm probably, what I'm doing right now is probably provoking, more instigation, with people like, NK and, Spin Dash, because I probably am, providing, more, I probably am, adding fuel to the fire. And again, I'm not trying to make enemies. I'm not trying, the fact that...
Me too. I don't want to get either. I want to have my good. I want friends from both sides because
Right. Because
that's the
I mean,
healthy.
as is, I've already had enough, drama in my own personal life in regards to like certain people. Shady Stoughton would know about that. Yeah, remember Shady Stoughton? Are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, and
You know,
yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
yes, I do.
Yeah. Uh, you know, but as is, again, I wouldn't be surprised if it was just. And I mean, I don't necessarily think they were, shit talking my content in particular. I don't think that was the case. It's just, you know, you know, again, there's just because again, Spin Dash, he's a nice guy. He seems like a nice guy. I would like to think he's a nice guy. Now I'm sure most of the people on that side, aside from the constant whatnot. Anyways, I think I've drove this home enough. Let's just continue on to the video because again we have a couple more videos I want to look at before we wrap this up tonight. This is again I start this off with this disclaimer. The purpose of this video is to counteract against the mentalities and perceptions I talk about in the video, not to target or belittle anyone. And again, I may have referenced Derek from Classic Game Room, but that is not me attacking him. I think he's a bad reviewer. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think I don't think little of him as a person just because he expressed something. You get the picture. And again, I even say that if you maintain any of the mentalities that I criticize in this video, I do not hold anything against you, because that would be stupid and childish. Because yeah, that would be stupid and childish. I hold nothing against anybody because of their opinions. I just have an issue with the constant overgeneralization. Because here's the thing, people like NK, they deny overgeneralizing world fans.
Yeah,
Yet,
the Maze fans tend to really have a big problem with generalization.
right? Okay,
People can like people can like Pac-Man for different purposes. People can like multiple genres of Pac-Man.
right,
They can't just fall into one or two specific categories.
right. Here's the thing: I don't need the series to. The reason I want World 4 is the same reason I want Sonic Adventure 3. It's because I want to see a proper evolution. I don't need constant world games. I don't need world 5 or world 6. I don't need that. I just would like to see what world 3 should have been. That's all. That's all I would ask of like a modern a Pac-Man platform. It doesn't even need to be called World 4 or whatever. I mean, part of me wants. Okay, this is about to sound bad. Part of me wants World 4 out of spite, but I mean, just in general.
Part of me wonders how Maze fans would react if World 4 ever did get announced.
I mean, it would be what they were criticizing world fans for. They'd be doing the exact same thing. So, again, I am a Maze fan too. Okay, crazy thing. I also like Pac-Man and the Maze too.
I mostly like originally 1996 Pac-Mania and Miss Pac-Man Maze Madness. Those are like
I mean I still do enjoy to some degree. I mean, I don't enjoy them as much
And guy, man, I just hate it when I'm like getting into like the heat of the moment, and then the heat of the discussion, and then I just like, oh wait, my microphone cut out. Okay, so we're back with the microphone. Okay, you guys can hear me? Wait, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So, man, I hate it when I'm like getting into like the heat of the discussion, and
Yeah, I know, that's kinda
again,
sucks.
as I said before, my earliest experience with the series was with games like, you know, the original 1998 arcade game and Miss Pac-Man. All right, so
Yeah, my first exposure to Pac-Man wasn't even a World. It was an Namco Museum DS.
right, exactly. So, yeah, I remember. So, yeah, there is an issue with cynical nostalgia pandering in the Pac-Man franchise as of recent. So, the series could be so much more, yet it's so much little at the moment. And I would like to think that they want to do more with the series. They just, you know, have it. And, you know, Mega Tunnel Battle looks like a step in the right direction. It looks like something I would love to play. It's just the fact that they made this stupid fucking decision to put it on the Stadia.
Yeah, that just seems like a bad business decision in general.
Right.
Like, Namco should at least know by 2020 how people feel about the Stadia.
Right. So, anyways, I think, the video we're about to watch perfectly just says how I felt. And, regardless, here we go.
Now, it should come as no surprise that I'm a little
Wait, you have to go?
After this video.
Oh, okay, alright, okay.
bit of a Pac-Man fan. But that isn't just because of the maze games, although I do like those titles and appreciate them a lot, but mostly because of his endeavors outside of the maze, mainly the 3D platformers.
Again, if Pac-Man was just, if it was just the little maze game, you know, and never evolved past that, you know, I probably wouldn't be as big of a fan as I am now. And so yeah, part of my attraction to the series is, of course, you know, the 3D platformers, the maze games and whatnot. That is part of it, but I still have like an immense, you know, liking towards that of the maze games, obviously. So the thing is that, you know, yes, it's possible to, you know, be tired of the same gameplay style over and over again, wanting to see, you know, the series try platforming again, you know, wanting the series to be an RPG again, you know, or not again, try RPG, you know, want to do a kart racer, you know, just a game that goes back to the old lore, you know, the original charming universe and characters and whatnot, you know, just expand off of that, you know. As is.
More specific, the Pac-Man role games. These games, as well as some of his other titles, have struck a chord with not just me, but a lot of other people as well, which is why I'm really irritated at the game.
This was drawn by, this was used for the thumbnail. This was drawn by, Mario Fan 123311. Just for the record,
community's notion that anything outside of the original maze shouldn't exist, and that Pac-Man doing anything that isn't confined to a maze is absolutely forbidden, and that Pac-Man World 4 couldn't happen in this day and age because it wouldn't sell, which is complete bullshit, by the way.
Okay, so I know some people would like bring up the poor sales in Japan. But
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't really feel like that's really I mean, to some extent.
Yeah, I do think. Yeah, I get why people are saying that because Japan's view of Pac-Man only really got worsened.
Right, but I mean, wasn't the series always more profitable in America? I mean, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was always somewhat more profitable in America. Sure, Japan really liked the game as well.
Yeah, but I mean, I mean, Americans are the ones who reference the game more so. Like, I mean, that's what I'm led to believe anyway. I don't know. I've been in America. I've been in this. I'm reluctant to say shithole of a country because I mean, given the current circumstances, of how things have been handled in this country.
I mean, Namco Kid during their own exposed me more Japanese like sale figures and stuff, and Pac-Man is still really popular in Japan. Not as much as the West, but they certainly did get popular. And
Right.
I think World 2 did kind of taint Pac-Man's reputation in Japan a little bit. Not so much in Europe and North America, even if World 2 in Europe didn't really sell that well either.
And I think part of the reason there is because of part of the issue there is that World 2 was neutered as fuck in Japan. Like, have you seen?
Yeah, I guarantee World 2 also like way better if it were exactly the same as the North American version.
Right. Yeah. And, like regional difficulty.
Because I played a little bit of Japan World 2 and it's fucking baby shit compared to the...
Yeah, no, I've seen it. I don't need to play it to know that it's easy. I mean, as is, I find World 2 to be an easy game because relatively easy because I've played it enough times to where, in the same way you would, play, any other game that would be considered hard on a first playthrough, but you manage to find it easy. I think World 2 is very generous when it comes to stuff like lives and hazard placement. It's a very fair game. It's a fair challenge. I think the real challenge in that game comes in the 100% completion. But the things they did, they butchered the game so bad in Japan. Like, holy shit. You just have to, see, you don't even need to play it to understand how much they, did with it. But I will admit the one neat aspect about the Japanese World 2 is that it actually had voice acting for the text cutscenes.
Yeah, they made you put effort for that.
Right, and I don't know, there's a little bit of charm to there not being any voice acting in the text-based cutscenes, but at the same time, I think that would have been nice to have had in the Western release, but again, I still think that the sales figures being worse in Japan doesn't really. I don't really think that's much of a.
Yeah, especially since most of the worst next-gen Pac-Man games didn't really get a Japan release. I mean, I heard Pac-Man Fever was supposed to get a Japanese release, but that was canceled, thankfully. I think Namco of Japan really didn't see home tech as worthy.
Right.
I think the ultimate problem was home tech, because Namco Japan hated home tech. Sure. Right. Now, home tech, they make World 2 and other decent games, but they also pumped out a lot of shovelware as well.
There was also the issue of the games also being rushed, too. In general.
Pretty rushed. That's why Namco Japan doesn't really want to... That's one of the reasons Namco Japan doesn't want to experiment with other countries, because home tech kind of ruined the experience for them.
Right. Well, I think a perfect, the best of both worlds would be, quality developers and but the will and ability to experiment again,
Yeah, getting out of the comfort zone and finding success in it would be good.
Yeah. Anyways, moving forward.
Oh, we're making Pac-Man platformers? Ugh, get out of here, these Pac-Man platformers.
You know, I think it's funny that this guy's name is Derek, because that would have been the second time I've been in reaction, or I've done something reactionary towards somebody named Derek. Although this was at least a lot more tame compared to the other one. Yeah.
Yep, yeah.
Generic design, it's lazy design. And for Pac-Man, I mean, how is Pac-Man this?
In general, I just don't like CGR Undertow, or at least most reviews by the CGR Undertow, and not just like the Pac-Man stuff. Like,
A lot of Derek's reviews tend to be rather shit, but a lot of the non-Derek reviews are actually kind of decent.
Well, there was also some like non-Derek reviewers that kind of have the same issue as Derek. I mean, there was that one review, that one CGR guy that did the review for Mega Man 8 that was essentially, oh, it's not 8-bit, therefore it's ruined forever. Ruined forever, or however EXO did that voice. But I mean, don't get me wrong, Mega Man 8 surely has its issues. I mean, I still consider it one of the lesser of the classic Mega Man games, but
yeah, I think I consider it very good. I mean, one of my favorites, but it's still very.
It's rough around the edges. I'll give you that. I still think it's a good game, all things considered. It's not as bad as some other people have made it out to be, but it's not as good as some people have made it out to be. In general, it's flawed, but the least of its issues are, the fact that it's not 8 bits and, it's too far, like, I mean, I just find Mega Man 9 and 10 to be extremely overrated.
I kind of like 9 and 10.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think they're good games. I think they're decent games because they have strong weapon selection, and and the soundtracks are good. I think the level design is still good. It's just the idea that they had to move this series backwards feels like really cynical. It's like But the point is that I think the whole idea that but the point is, it feels like the CGR, Derek in particular, is just it's nostalgia. The whole. I have trouble talking a lot.
Yeah, it's rather hard to talk when you're under all this kind of stuff. So much thoughts coming into your brain.
Yeah, that's one of the faux pas when it comes to writing scripts, because I just I pace around not knowing what to say next, because I have so much I want to say next that it's so fucking disorganized. But Derek's reviews, I fail to see why so many people praise him like he's this this.
Yeah, I mean the CGR
this pioneer of game critiques. I mean, the thing is, review sites like CGR, Classic Game Room, they serve essentially the same purpose as something as IGN or GameSpot, in that their review is made for the common person who wants to see how good the game is. I mean, Derek tries to put a little more philosophy into his reviews. I can appreciate him for that. It's just that, it comes out of a place of, oh, this is different, and therefore it's ruined.
Yeah, without explaining why the difference ruins it for him. Or at least not getting competent answers.
Like, he says that Ghostly Adventures is, bland and generic or whatnot, but he doesn't explain how it's bland or generic, He says it's, no, not Pac-Man, but doesn't explain how. Yeah, it's different. But how is that bad? How is it, talk about the game on its own terms, too. Sure, Ghostly Adventures, it did stray a bit from, the formula, but it's still... But how is the game on its own, Anyways. But in general, I just don't really find, I don't get why people praised Derek's reviews just because it's just,
It's easy because this isn't Pac-Man.
I should also mention that I do not like the current state of the Pac-Man series, considering how it's now just boiled down to nostalgia pandering, rehashes, and extremely mediocre mobile games. When Toru Iwatani made the first Pac-Man game, he set out to make something that stood out, something with personality and character, which is ironic since nowadays the series has become nothing but lifeless mobile cash grabs and obnoxious advertisements for Red Bull. This series...
The Red Bull stuff got really, really obnoxious.
I never really saw the Red Bull stuff.
They were, yeah, well, I saw quite a bit of it, well.
Could be so much more. In fact, the series was so much more in the past.
But I will admit... Oh, see ya, man. But I won't deny, though, that... but I will say, I do think that sometimes, because there were times where I thought, oh, are they teasing something new? Like a new game? Perhaps when I'd see, these renders that they make, and I was thinking, but no, it's just, automatically assuming that they're gonna show off a new game, or they're teasing a new game based off of, a new render or whatnot. That's your first mistake. I feel like that's a common thing with Pac-Man fans, I guess we're just so starved.
Because why make a new render if you're not going to use anything? But
now, yeah, that's the thing. Why make a new render if you're only going to use it for advertising? When, I'd like to think that they are having something in development, but, I don't know.
This could be so much more. In fact, the series was so much more in the past. We used to get fun, inventive games that expanded off of Pac-Man as a character. But no, you say, Pac-Man shouldn't try to be anything special. This series shouldn't be anything more than just a yellow circle collecting dots and a neon maze. How dare anyone wants the series to be more than what it originally was in the...
And again, it seems like that is the mentality that, from what I've seen, that mentality still seems to be around,
the arcade. Even though this franchise played a part in influencing the side-scrolling platforming genre in the 80s. Now, you may hear me say this and think, what? What is this loony going on about? Well, time for a little history.
Hold on, I have to deal with something real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay. Excuse me.
I know I'm getting kind of bored here, but Hey, let's see what anyone in the chat has. Dude, are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. He sounds high. I think he's likely fine. He just has to get stuff like drinks or something. Maybe, yeah.
Oh, okay. Alright, I just needed to piss there for a second. Anyways, is everybody still here?
Well, I'm here. Yeah.
Okay, anyways, I'm gonna look at the chat real quick to see. I know TGM is saying, "Dude, you okay? He sounds high." Do I sound high, guys? I mean, I've been high before. I know Shady Soden has heard me high a couple of times. I actually called him while I was like really fucking high once. Yeah, I actually thought about doing a stream high, but regardless, no, I'm fine. Oh no, it's okay, man. It's no, it's okay, TGM. It's fine. No, it's all right. It's okay, cool. Hey, it's cool, man. I was looking at the chat, just seeing. Well, unless were you guys asking if unless if you guys were asking if Spacey was high. Oh well.
No, I'm not high.
I don't know. Have you ever gotten high before?
No, I haven't got high before.
Okay. I mean, you're a bit young though, so I mean.
Yeah.
Wait, you said you have gotten high? I mean,
or haven't.
Haven't. No, okay. Well, I mean, okay. I mean, you're a bit young. I was 18 when I got high first. It was like the first time was like this last December. Yeah, it was like a couple of. It was like quite an experience. But anyways,
Now, you may recall a little game that came out in 1985. Nothing particularly special. It's only one of the most influential games of all time, one that helped to usher an interest into the gaming industry in the US, saving it from becoming irrelevant, and set standards for years to come, and even to this day is still recognized as an important piece of gaming history. That little game...
That joke, it would have been funny if it wasn't as long or drawn out as it was. You know. And I believe this was like a post-editing note. Because it was too late for me to remove that from the video.
That little game being Super Mario Bros.
I tried to do that, you know, that donkey thing where... Was it Donkey that... Was Donkey the one who was like, Pepsi Man, or... Was it, or was it just Mario 2? I know he like, did the... I know he was like, behind the ironic, knack sort of thing, you know, but...
Now you may be wondering, what the hell does this have to do with anything I'm talking about? Well, about a year early...
There were a couple of F-bombs that I ended up removing from this video. You'd be surprised that for the first rant video, there were no F-bombs, despite being a rant video. You know, I guess I was trying to be just more, informal, and
Controlling your temper.
yeah. Wait, what? Yeah, okay. I don't know. There's like 5 million channels. Okay, I was reading the chat. I don't know. There's like 5 million channels that do like the fake out gags like that. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's just about like how you do it. Like how drawn out you do it. But about to say something, but yeah, it's funny how like the one rant video, I'm pretty tame all things considered, but it's just in the reviews I can tend to like be like whatnot, especially this one review I'm like in the middle of writing the script for. Let's just say what I'm not gonna say what it exactly is, but what I am reviewing I am pretty much tearing to shreds. It's gonna be a surprise. It's gonna be a treat for I know some people, but
Here in 1984, Pac-Land came out in the arcades, a side-scrolling platformer featuring who else but Pac-Man. Now, not only did it come out before Super Mario Bros., but it also served as an inspiration for Super Mario Bros. Shigeru Miyamoto really liked Pac-Man. He made Double World, which was basically a Pac-Man clone. And in the early 2000s, he made Pac-Man Versus, a multiplayer Pac-Man game that had Mario as the announcer. And, as I mentioned back in the 80s, when he went to make Super Mario Bros., he took inspiration from a Pac-Man platformer. Wow! Even Miyamoto acknowledges Pac-Man as a platformer. Pac-Man helped to shape Mario into what he is today. And for some reason, Pac-Man can't be a platformer. For some reason, he can't be anything more
that's what I
than
think
just
with like Maze fans.
Come again?
It's just something that's really a big problem with Maze fans is that people do like the platformers almost as much as they do the Maze games.
Right.
People would we do at least enjoy Pac-Man at the very least.
Right. Yeah, and again, it's just that trying to keep my cat away from pulling the mic or phone because he just like came in. Hold on. No. He's under that shit. There we go. He always finds a way. Is my mic still on?
Yeah, your mic's still on.
But
okay, yeah. Your mic's on, so you're good.
Right. No, Soshi she says, just because Mr. Enter hates it, that doesn't mean everyone should hate it. Hates what? Did he ever mention anything about?
No, I don't think so. I think he's just bringing comparison to the SpongeBob reviews Mr. Enter did.
Oh. Mr. Renner is a funny guy in that an ironic sense.
Yeah, even if he's become an anther list in the last few months.
I used to, and I actually, there was a time where I did used to like his videos, but...
Yeah, me too. Brief period of time.
But I think, yeah, I haven't seen any of his like newer stuff. I've heard like things about him. Isn't he like one of those anti-masker guys?
Yeah, his
stance
on mask rather controversial.
Okay, yeah, then he's most likely a dumbass, but
Yeah.
I don't want to get into that social politics stuff right now. You know. Yeah, I know there are like a lot of channels like that, Socially Yoshi, where you just like watch shit when you don't have anything else to watch. But yes, where was I getting at? Oh yeah, we were talking about, just in general, there are people who like the maze games. There are people who like the world games. He's continuing this.
Yellow circle in a maze? And another thing is that whenever Mario does something different from his regular platform routine, whether it be kart races, party games...
It's funny I kept myself tame when making this video, because I think I was kind of like... I was just like coming out of like a dark phase. Oh, no, not a dark phase, more so just like coming out of a depressive phase when making this video, so yeah. So yeah.
RPGs, no one really bats an eye, which is great because Mario should be allowed to do different things. Yet, whenever Pac-Man does something that's outside of the maze gameplay of the original, these pedantic...
Yeah, I never really address why Pac-Man can't.
Right. I would like
to... this a few times, and they always seem to dodge the question.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if they can have like 8 Mario Kart games, I don't see what the problem is with there being a 4th or like another attempt at a Pac-Man platform. I don't get that. And Pac-Man's also done like the kart racing thing, and like I heard people that criticized the series, criticized like World Rally because it was a kart racer, because it was too much like Mario Kart. And then it's funny because these same people would probably turn around and praise something like, Crash Team Racing, even though that's also like that's also a Mario Kart clone. Although, don't get me wrong, Crash Team Racing is a pretty great game, all things considered.
Yeah, it's like a better game overall.
Oh yeah, no, I'd say that's probably like the best kart racer out there.
Yeah.
But but World Rally is not bad at all. In fact, it's a pretty good one too, I'd say. Again,
yeah.
You can have your opinion, I wish there was more to it, admittedly, but like the track design is still extremely imaginative. Like the mechanics, like the way they implemented the fruit and the pack dots works well enough, and I still got enjoyment out of the battle mode. You can still play the battle. That's one thing. You can still play the battle mode without the need of a second player, because you have CPU options for the battle mode, which is great. I've heard that there have been kart races that haven't had that. So at least I've heard. And the battle mode's pretty fun too. Like the different.
Yeah, it's very unique and fun for battle mode kart racer.
Yeah, like they actually have they don't just use the same items. They have like different weapons you could utilize. It's kind of, I heard one friend of mine said it was similar to a Twisted Metal. I'm not sure exactly if that's the case, but for Mario Kart 64. Okay, yeah. World Rally handheld collectibles better than World 3. That says something. I don't remember there being collectibles in World Rally, unless there was something I missed in that game. Maybe it was like exclusive in the PSP version. I don't know.
Anyways, moving aside.
Like it's a sin against humanity. Furthermore, you have people who complain that Pac-Man even has limbs to begin with.
Something that Derek complained about. And again, that complaining about Pac-Man having limbs is pretty dumb, because what I'm about to say, basically,
Despite the fact that he's had limbs before he was even called Pac-Man. What the puck, man?
yeah.
Yeah, really, I agree. Yeah, sometimes I feel like people just don't understand. Like, that Pac-Man had limbs beforehand. People were really uneducated about a ton of Pac-Man stuff.
Right. I mean, the same people who would be like... the same people who would have... I mean, to be fair, it is, like, obscure knowledge that, not necessarily Pac-Man, not necessarily the whole Pac-Man stuff. I mean, that's basically... That's not even obscure anymore, because, I think most people who have, like, seen Scott Pilgrim probably know that, because... they'd be like, oh, hey, I knew that. They mentioned that in Scott Pilgrim, whatnot. But, basically, it's common knowledge that Pac-Man was originally called Puck-Man. It's just I feel people forget that when he was called Puck-Man, he had limbs. It wasn't... And he was always meant to have... based off of the, design-wise, it seemed like there was always... Even from the beginning, there was always more to Pac-Man than just being, this circle in a maze, whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and whatnot.
Platformers such as Super Mario 64 and Crash Bandicoot. But damn, they are great 2 to 3D transitions if I've ever seen any. Seamlessly incorporating the gameplay elements of the classic maze games into a 3D platformer. Now that I think about it, the styling of the original Pac-Man is one that nicely lends itself to a platforming game, with it basically having collectibles and power-ups and whatnot. And the first 2 Pac-Man role games are proof of this. But their potential has yet to be realized, and I feel that the world games deserve a second chance. Now, I'm not saying it should just be platformers. I'd love to see an attempt at an RPG, or another party game, or a sequel to World Rally. Well, I mean a good one. Hell, I wouldn't mind more maze games as long as they experiment or build off the maze formula. Like what games like Arrangement, Mania, Maze...
And again, I think at the very least, what I would like to see is a maze game, but with, actual storytelling, that, actually has environments, has, like, a sense of adventure. I mean, that's at the very, at the very least, a maze game that is doing something new. Now, we are getting a maze game that's doing something new, Mega Tunnel Battle looks like a step in the right direction. I will admit that. It's straying away from the... Yeah, it's straying away from the look at me, I am retro aesthetic that was so rampant in the the championship edition games, and it's straying away from that. It's and it's doing new things, adding like new mechanics that are interesting and whatnot. Now I'd just like to see them make another maze game, but do it in the style of what we see here with Maze Madness, or Adventures in Time, something that is unique, to say the least.
Madness and Adventures in Time did. Unfortunately, this series lately has been nothing but mediocre mobile titles and remakes or remixes of the original game that get old real quick. The current state of the series is honestly depressing, and I do feel the blame goes towards the Bandit Namco merger that happened in the late 2000s. But the gaming community's hostility towards Pac-Man doing anything different...
Bandit Namco did save Namco themselves, since Namco was going into bankruptcy.
Right. Again, I'm not sure if... I'm not
Namco in public domain if Namco were to go bankrupt.
Oh, yeah, totally. I can at least appreciate that, Namco is still alive thanks to Bandai. I mean, again, I don't think I was but when I made this, I don't think I was particularly, well informed on, the whole
ordeal. And, you know, all things considered, I can thank, you know, Bandai for keeping Namco around, because otherwise the Pac-Man, you know, series would probably be public domain by that point. And, you know, the series truly would be dead in that instance. So it's just that the direction that they took with the character past 2010 is something that's a little bit problematic in my opinion. But, you know,
thankfully, many other Pac-Man fans are starting to become more vocal about the current state of the series and are showing support for the series to return to form. Anyways, I guess is all I have to say. However, while this rant was made against the mentalities made towards Pac-Man, I did barely scratch the surface of...
Yes, Nick. Imagine if they did merge with Sega. That probably would have been, like, the good future scenario. I mean, there is, like, a lot of things to consider with that. Like, you know, how would the Sonic games, you know, be nowadays if you know, they merged with, you know, Namco? Like, how would Pac-Man be handled, you know? And I mean, again, that... So far, I think that was only ever... I mean, I'm not sure if that was only a rumor. That could be true. That they were planning... That was, you know, in the works. The merger with Sega. Maybe it's happened in another dimension. I don't know.
Issues with Bandai Namco. And since I did touch upon that a little bit in this video... then consider this a little gateway towards my next rant.
A next rant that I probably won't ever get around to making. For various different reasons. What?
What was that rant about?
Well, the rant that I said I was going to get around to making. The current state of Bandai Namco.
Yeah, I mean, Bandai Namco has improved a lot over the last few years.
Yeah, I won't deny that. I mean,
and
yeah,
they have also started having at least a little more respect.
Yeah. Again, they're still making some mistakes. Like, again, we've already talked about, you know, Mega Tunnel Battle and the whole Stadia situation with that, but...
centered around my issues with Bandai Namco and how they have treated their IPs. Anyways, that's all I have to say for now. I'll see you all later.
I think that may have been the first time I said that. Because it was around this point where I started using the "I'll see you all later" in tagging, which is not a unique. It's not necessarily a unique tagline to end off with, but it's, you know, I've kind of like made it a thing. Okay, so are we too tired for the Jack Razor review? Or
I don't know. Is everyone interested in wanting to continue on to Jack Razor review? Let's see what the viewers think.
All right. Okay, so far we have Nick. Okay, so you have Soshi the Yoshi. Superstar Feed 2002 says they need some shut-eye. Maybe speed up a little. Okay, so what do you think? Oh, wait. They need to work tomorrow. I'm kind of feeling like we can like put this down for now.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think we'll be able to do it tomorrow. Due to account that I don't know. How free are you, Spacey? You have school, right?
Yeah, I have school till like 11:15.
11:15. Like 11.
Yeah, maybe I'll probably go stack up by 12.
11:15. Actually, yeah, I also have like an online class at around 1. So I don't think tomorrow would work as well. Saturday morning, perhaps. Well, not morning per se, but
Saturday would probably be better for that.
Yeah, I work on Saturday as well, like at like around, from like 7 to midnight. But I mean, so like it can only really work for dead end in the morning on Saturday, or like sometime before, before. Well, anyways, shit. I don't really know a good way to end this one off, simply because, like the last stream was, had a pretty hectic ending. I mean, we literally put a crack in the space-time continuum.
Yeah, how can we top that?
Right, exactly. I'd probably need, I don't know. Yeah, that's right, epic meme moment, bro. Alright. I guess I'm satisfied with just, ending it, Ooh! I know how we'll end it. We'll end it with this.
Looks like Ja is taking a drink.
Okay, that's a really dumb joke, but
yeah, permanent something like this.
Yeah, senior year was whack as hell. Let me tell you. Anyways, I will see you all later.
Okay. Well, we'll see y'all later. So, bye.